It's the 13th day of the month of July. Good morning. You're welcome to News Morning here on TV3. I am Enyunam Haliga. Let's look at the headlines. National Concerned Small-Scale Miners Association demand the immediate interdiction of a military officer who allegedly shot a man during an anti-galamsey operation at Chebi. Also, relief alas as all 6 waste collection stations reopen after 4 years of inactivity, restoring essential sanitation services in Accra. And on the international front, Iran has once again closed the Strait of Hormuz amid the escalating tensions within the United States, raising fears of fresh surge of global fuel prices. Thank you for joining us this morning. We'll start off with some illegal mining stories as National Concerned Small-Scale Miners Association is calling for the immediate interdiction of a military officer in a viral video allegedly shooting a man during an anti-galamsey operation at Shebizongo in the eastern region. The association says while it supports the fight against illegal mining, law enforcement must be carried out within the law and respect to human rights. The association says it remains committed to responsible and legal small-scale mining and does not support illegal mining activities. The association says the individual who was shot appeared unarmed and from the footage seemed to be attempting to calm tensions rather than inciting violence. Now we'll take a listen to Michael Kwejopepra. He's the president of the National Concerned Small-Scale Farmers Miners Association, who spoke to TV3.
As an association, one thing we want to put across is we don't support illegal mining and we don't encourage illegal mining. What we advocate for is responsible and sustainable small-scale mining. The person that was shot, you could see that he posed no threat to the military. He held no weapons, and he was even he turned his back on this military, and unfortunately, he was shot in the leg. If you recall, a such incident happened in Obuasi when Operation Vanguard was initiated. Somebody who was in his house was shot, and as we speak now, we did not see or read about any investigation being done. In enforcing the law, there should be a human face to the enforcement. The fact that people have been putting or been given power to help solve this canker means that everybody they see is their enemy. I believe in sometimes dialogue, and we believe in at least Georgia.
Okay.
You could see that even though some of the youth were agitated, at least they could have used a different approach in solving the problem.
I see.
We don't want a situation where the fight against galamsey will bring about loss of life. That is the reason why, as an association, we are pressing on the interdiction of the officer who shot this gentleman.
Meanwhile, the spokesperson for the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat, Pakwisi Shandov, says some arrests have been made.
Security personnel had been formally commissioned to embark on a sanctioned operation in the area. However, upon arrival, some locals within that enclave were not exactly happy with the operation. Indeed, they sought to interfere with the said operation. And so, as you would have seen in the excerpts that was just played, a couple of them attempted to forcefully interfere with the with the operation. But as is very typical of NIMOS, the personnel who are deployed to the field would always want to engage in civil discourse and dialogue when they encounter some of these situations. And so you would have seen that the military personnel in question subsequently decided to, draw a line, as it were, or insist that the persons do not move beyond a certain boundary. but the personnel, the individual in question, decided to ignore those repeated warnings, and that is what led to the unfortunate incident. And so, by way of summary, it has just been a story of some individuals seeking to interfere with sanctioned NIMOS operations, and that is what resulted in the unfortunate incident. A few arrests have actually been effected, and the police command in that area, as we speak, they are currently supervising investigations to bring closure to this particular development.
Now, away from illegal mining to some political-related stories, the opposition New Patriotic Party has alleged that officers of the Economic and Organized Crime Office, with the assistance of the officials of the Ghana Immigration Service, have arrested one of its communications team's member, Dennis Miracles Abuaji, and is therefore demanding the immediate release. The claim was made by the party's General Secretary, Justin Frimpong Kodua, in a Facebook post on Sunday. Now, according to Mr. Kodua, Mr. Abuaji was allegedly arrested at the airport and taken into custody of Iyoko. It's not clear what this might have caused his arrest, but Mr. Abuaji recently declared his intention to contest for the position of the National Communications Officer for the New Patriotic Party. From politics to some sanitation-related stories, 4 years after the shutdown of Accra's major waste transfer stations crippled refuse collection and deepened the capital's sanitation crisis, President Mahama has ordered their immediate reopening. The directive is restoring a critical link in the waste management chain, cutting disposal time from private collectors while accelerating the evaluation of thousands of tons of garbage from flood-affected communities.
Continues to grapple with mounting waste management challenges. Recent floods have worsened the already fragile situation as the capital lacks sufficient engineered landfill sites to handle the growing volumes of domestic, industrial and commercial waste. Private waste collections, including tricycles, popularly known as aboboya, have for years traveled long distances to dispose of collected refuse in Nsaom and part of the central region. The situation followed the decommissioning of the Pantan and Kpon landfill sites. Privately owned waste transfer stations have also remained shut for the past 4 years. Speaking during the second day of the national cleanup exercise, President Mahama directed the immediate reopening of 6 transfer stations.
Asked the contractor to open the transfer stations, that's Zoom Lion, so that the aboboyas and others can take the garbage to the transfer stations. They don't need to go all the way to Amasama and to the Irikops.
TV3 News visited some of the stations a day after the president's directive to assess operations. Our first stop was the Teshi Zoom Park transfer station, which serves waste collectors from the Lejukuku, Krowo, La Dadekotopong and Tema West municipalities. After 4 years of inactivity, the facility has returned to operation, saving waste collectors both time and transport costs, while enabling them to serve more households each day. The station has the capacity to receive more than 200 tricycles and boiler taxis daily. Flood debris and household waste are sorted on site to recover plastics and other recyclable materials. Nayoko, an engineer with Zoom Lion, explains how the transfer station operates.
The company decided to get investors and then establish this transfer station where the waste can be brought here by different collectors, consolidated, and then sent to the landfill. What this does is it shortens the turnaround time so that more households can be served in a day.
For many tricycle waste collectors, like Bola Inspector, the president directive comes as a major relief.
We don't go motorway 247 risky. We don't risk our life. But you go serve. You don't go reach the motor office for your tire go bus. Only you waiting go do. Yeah. Oh, I catch you.
Management says work is underway to establish additional transfer stations to improve waste collection and disposal.
For us to do effective work, we cut all the waste to the transfer station. Then at night, the bigger trailers can cut them to the final disposal site. Going forward, we are looking at every MMDA having a transfer station.
For now, the revived facilities are easing pressure on private waste collectors while giving Accra a renewed opportunity to confront its sanitation crisis before it develops into another public health emergency. Stanley Nibleu, TV3 News, Accra.
Moving on to some other stories now, as the youth of Salaga in the East Gonja municipality of the Savannah region are demanding a more sustainable power supply from the Northern Electricity Distribution Company. Their demand follows months of unstable power supply to Savannah and Salaga and its environs.
Electricity supply to Salaga, Bimbila, Wulensi, Pandai, Basa, and Ketekrache has not been the best over the past 4 years. Residents have had to battle with intermittent power outages, low voltage, face-off, among other power supply challenges on daily basis. Despite organizing series of demonstrations in the past to demand for an improvement of the power situation, the situation seems unchanged as businesses and other livelihood activities have crumbled. Speaking after a stakeholder engagement in Salaga, some of the youth bemoan how the situation is affecting socio-economic activities in the area.
Lighting system in Salaga is really worrying. Almost every 30 seconds, light goes off in Salaga. They're worrying. Gadgets are burning, and it's really serious here. Because children are dying in the hospital and incubators. Equipment and gadgets are being destroyed. Houses are being burnt. In this situation, this is about the third house which has been burnt to the ground, just due to this off and on. And in some situations, people cannot be attended to in hospitals. Our businesses are collapsing. Cold stores are dying off. Our parents who used to sell even cold drinks cannot do so.
Northern Area Manager of NEDCO VRA, Engineer Elvis Amwako Dunayuko, assured that the power distribution company will work to improve the situation.
So I want to appeal to the youth that we are in this together, and if the situation doesn't improve, we are not also sleeping, because anytime power goes off, our phones will be ringing. Anytime power goes off, our major stakeholders will be calling us, and we are unable to have peace of mind to even think strategically to improve on the situation.
In 2025, Energy and Green Transition Minister Dr. John Jinapo, during a working visit to the northern and Savannah regions, assured of the construction of a substation at Pandai. Residents believe its construction will improve the power situation and want work on project fast-tracked.
Now, a 3-day national youth dialogue on domestication of Africa Agribusiness Youth Strategy and the Youth and Agri-Food System Performance Index has revealed that youth-specific targets in agricultural policies remain weak. The dialogue, organized by AGRA, brought together key stakeholders who called for policy such as the Feed Ghana program to include clear youth participation targets.
100 young agribusiness entrepreneurs and sector leaders, policymakers and development partners from across Africa gathered in Accra for the National Youth Dialogue. The meeting sought to equip young people with the knowledge and tools needed to seize opportunities under the Africa Agribusiness Youth Strategy. Senior specialist at AGRA, David Adama, said Ghana has the right institutional structures to support youth participation in agriculture, but stressed the need for a performance index to track youth commitments. Other initiatives such as the Feed Ghana program, farmer service centers and farm banks.
It has the structure, it has the framing, which is robust. However, the youth intentionality has not been captured within that document. One of the weaknesses we're seeing is around youth representation and participation in the policy decision-making process, which is really weak in what we're seeing. So how do we create space for young people to engage in oversight committees?
Chairman of Parliament's Committee on Food, Agriculture and Cocoa Affairs, Dr. Godfred Seidu, pledged Parliament's commitment to championing youth-responsive policies and legislative reforms.
We, on behalf of my colleagues, have accepted these commitments and requests from the youth. They have some practical asks that policy will have to respond to, and so they have also created the opportunity for us to appreciate that these actionable steps can be evolving, co-evolved and co-developed. And so we look forward to working with these commitments, studying them, fashioning out next steps, and inviting them to come back so that we can all agree on the steps forward.
Member of Parliament for the Union constituency, Al-Hassan Suleimana, welcomed the initiative, describing it as a timely intervention.
Agric is something that can employ a lot of youth in this country, and we have the land, we have fertile land to make the business or the agric sector very lucrative. Nobody will be chasing for white collar.
Young agri-business entrepreneurs who participated in the dialogue expressed optimism about the future of agriculture.
Now, on the international front, Iran has declared the Strait of Hormuz closed to all shipping, and the announcement alone is enough to move the prices of liters of petrol across the world. The fifth of the world's oil moves through the channel has declared shut, and at home in Ghana, the impact is expected to be swift. The Islamic Revolution Guard Corps announced the closure on Sunday. The move follows Trump's declaration last week that an interim deal to end the war was over. And that's how we end News Morning here on TV3. For more news, please check our website at 3news.com. I am Enyunam Haligan. Your day continues. Why?
I was just doing a pass through.
Which one
so
is
that? So that tomorrow.
We missed you.
So that tomorrow I go do and well.
I see. No, we should have done like a whole deba and stuff.
Oh, hey!
Listen, you should hear
I don't want
Captain
clashes.
Smart.
You know, sometimes when you do deba, then clashes. Because I have opponents.
No, Captain
So that
Smart
they'll do me like, okay,
Techie,
Dennis Miracle, those will don't beat us at the prime.
How is this connected to them?
No, it's because I have factions. For and against Roland factions.
Oh,
Which
I
one
see.
is that?
It's a fantastic edition.
Really?
Yeah, I have for and against.
Where can we find them?
In the various constituencies. You said Captain Smart. What did you do?
No, usually when you're off for a while, he
Yeah.
insists that there should be a whole deba to welcome you.
Is
back
that what
on the
Captain
show.
Smart does? Hey, Charlie, be careful, oh.
I'm
Your
sure if
words
he sees you
morning
this morning, he will wonder
will
why
be
we
used
didn't
against
do
you.
a whole event outside just to usher you in. But good to see you. Welcome
Yeah.
back.
I got affected by the floods, just like Dennis Miracles Abwaji. Yes.
Sorry.
But, you know, there was nobody to report to. So people will say that, you know, what can you do?
When you say there was no one to report to us in...
What can you do? You only call somebody you know at NADMO or something, yeah. So, but it wasn't that intense like I had seen, yeah.
So you didn't have your things swept away?
Oh, only some of the things.
They were swept away?
No.
Or it just
Only
seeped
some.
into your room?
Yeah, just seeped,
I'm
into the compound, into just a bit.
And
So
into your building itself? Like
yes. Then the kitchen area and then some of the you have to sweep it out. But it's part of those things because, you know, no, it's true. Oh, believe me. So this is what happened. So when I saw my situation, I was a bit sad.
Yeah.
But I saw people at Chado. Chado. And then Trazaku and Ness and those things. Then I said no. I said, yeah. So we the poor people and the rich people, we all one. So
Roland
all
is
one.
not a poor person. Please.
So we all became one.
whether to believe Roland
because
or
all of
not.
us became flooded.
I don't know whether to believe Roland or not.
Maybe true matter where at the top.
Really?
So I even had to call Pai Fianku of engineers and planners to give me some emergency relief. You know, Ibrahim Mahama is always donating to the people, but I didn't get through to him. So
you couldn't get Pai after mentioning Pai Fianku every morning.
I was told that he was in the US for the World Cup. But
so he couldn't arrange for anyone to come and rescue you.
Roland, I want to see some pictures.
They won't mention Pai Fianku again. We're upset. I'm so sorry about that.
Yeah, but it was a terrible time.
Yeah.
Sorry.
How long did it take for the water to? Did you have to drain it out manually?
No, not like it just receded naturally.
Okay.
Not like those areas where it was stagnant. And then particularly for some areas in Tema, because they were down the channel, the water just came naturally and then had to be stagnant for a very long time. Areas in Community 5. And
but Tema is supposed to be the best planned community or town.
Yes, it is.
So I'm surprised
but they have adjoining
happening.
areas which are wetland areas which have been encroached.
Okay.
So that's what's
down
happening.
when you're getting towards Sakumono
The
and some of
Ramsey
those
sites
places,
and all that.
Yeah.
Oh, so sorry.
Charlie.
It's good to see you. Thank God that
I need GoFund. Is it GoFund?
Yes, you can open the account. We'll make noise of it.
Now, the suit you're wearing alone.
I'll do that.
If we sell this suit, we can sort out everybody.
Charlie, what has been trending? What has been trending?
You have been trending, actually.
What has been trending? What has been
we
trending?
thought you were at Yoko this morning.
No, that's some of our friends, Dennis Miracle Abwaji and the rest. I saw, you know, he launches. You see that one too. You see, as a we we are communication brand and marketing communication strategies and all that. So I was wondering, Dennis, make sure that catch him at Yoko. Then he launches his campaign at the same time. But we have to free him. Free Miracles Abwaji.
Yeah,
we have to free him. But
do you know? I'm confused, Roland.
There seems to be like a coincidence. He's in there, and at the same time, he launches a campaign that day.
And
he actually launched a few hours or minutes before the incident happened.
As a communication strategist, but I think as a human rights person.
Saturday?
Oh, what I found out was that he'd been under some level of investigations. Yeah,
yes.
So logically. Yeah.
But I think we need to understand when he was picked up and when this campaign was launched on Sunday, right?
I started seeing the videos.
At least I saw the video on Sunday morning.
Sunday, yes.
Yes.
But I think by the latter part of Saturday,
that's when he posted it.
I saw 1957 posted.
Yeah, posted. I think Dennis posted it on his page as well.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful video, I must say. Very well put together. I thought it was really nice.
The branding was
it was solid. It was solid. He was walking in his community and in his school or something. He wasn't playing at all. It would take a lot for you to compete. But anyway, I saw that and I was wondering because I need to get the timelines right.
Yes.
When was he picked up by Yoko?
is it in any way connected to, you know, the launching of his campaign, or is it really related to some allegations made against him with regards to corruption? We need to understand all that.
I mean, what we know is that
the MPP is saying he needs to be freed
Yeah.
regardless. And this morning we're told that they'll be marching to Iyoko. And so we'll be keeping you updated on that matter to find out exactly what's
The whole
happening.
party?
Yeah, they say they are marching to Iyoko this morning
But
to
that
demand his freedom.
Oketichie too was arrested.
There's no statement for Oketichie. There's no free Oketichie at this point.
No.
Yeah.
We have to launch that this morning. I think that we also need to free Oketichie as well as part of the campaign to make sure that Dennis Miracle Abuaje is also freed alongside, you know. And then who else has been arrested?
We know of the two.
Oh, the two.
Yes.
But the MPP issued a statement only for
Dennis.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And their own people are even speaking up because they're wondering why there was such an immediate attention given to Dennis's issue as against Oketichie. But yes, of course, like I said, we'll keep you updated on this number. In fact, the MPP says that they are marching to Iyoko today to demand an explanation over the arrest of its member, Dennis Miracle Abuaje, and says the demonstration is intended to seek answers over the circumstances leading to his arrest, which it believes raises concerns about the treatment of opposition figures and the application of due process. They said that Mr. Abuaje was apprehended at the Accra International Airport by officials of Iyoko with the support of the Ghana Immigration Service, despite receiving no prior invitation or notification regarding any investigation. While it supports lawful investigations and accountability, state institutions must adhere to established legal procedures. The question I keep asking, when was he picked up?
Yes.
Why was he picked up?
Well, my information I'm picking up was that he'd been under some level of investigation over the last couple, if not weeks or a week or so. So at least he knew that he was under investigation. Yes. I don't know why Iyoko made it business to pick him up, because at the end of the day, he's a towering figure when it comes to Ghana's political landscape. He also has a very good relationship with the young, political savvy demography that we have in Ghana. And so when you pick him up, certainly it is going to raise eyebrows as to the rationale, the objective, and the goal why you should pick him up. But again, we need to also delineate the issues. Iyoko has been enjoined by the Constitution as well as the law that establishes it to work based on its objects. And so if it's undertaking its work, yes, then we have to allow Iyoko to undertake its work. Then we also have Dennis Miracle Abuaje leading the communication campaign for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, and subsequently, or even coincidentally, seemed to have launched a campaign same time when he was picked up by Iyoko. So was it right for Iyoko to pick him up for what they were investigating him for? And at the same time, does he have a right in law to also say that you have breached my human rights, whatever it is that is in the Constitution?
I think,
and then also, if you have to pick him up, was it right to do so?
Exactly. At the end of the day, what a lot of people are asking for is transparency. And for Iyoko to be telling us that, okay, we've picked you up for A, B, C, D. And if you look at the statement issued by Justin Kodia-Frimpong, he talks about, I mean, there are insinuations in that statement just because Iyoko hasn't come out here to say that we arrested you for A, B, C, D reason. And also the fact that they believe he's been denied access to his family lawyers and can't even tell his whereabouts because there seems to be little to no information from Iyoko regarding why he's been arrested. And that is really what fuels the conversations about people, that we are not in an authoritarian state. There should be some sort of transparency, and there should be, even if you're operating within the law, let us know how you're operating. It kills all these speculations and political interpretations of things, just so we're able to move forward as a democratic state and, of course, as a nation that should be apolitical or beyond the issue of partisan politics. Yes.
And it takes us back to just last week when we were all talking about Abdul Hanan, you know, Wahab, and how he was also picked up, you know, by Iyoko at the airport. The Deputy Attorney General now put out a statement eventually detailing why he was arrested at the airport. And then his counsel now came out, Godfrey Dami came out and said he's been denied you know, access to his clients. And so that again brings to fore the concern about how people who are picked up are treated. Do they have the right to meet their counsel even when they're in detention? Yes, they do. So why is that not being made available. Because if that's the case, then the NPP should have known, as at this point, where he is, why he's there, and why he's been picked up. Clearly, with their statements, they have no clue what's going on.
Yes.
And so that's like a repetition of something that a lot of people are frowning upon. And for Iyoko, it's been hours since the MPP started chanting, asking for the amount to be released or to be freed, or at least some explanation to be given. Maybe 12 hours or more. Up until this point, there's still no statements. The longer you wait, the more the speculation festers.
And you know, that's why
and
some
they
security...
need to address that.
Yes, analysts say that perhaps we need to modernize how our security agencies operate, because those times they were feared in mysterious, you know, modus operandis and all of that. But now we are in a world of transparency, I mean, digitalization and all of that. And so whatever it is you're doing, there is a need to bear that in mind, just so people, again, do not bring out the unnecessary speculations. Because in the case of Hanan that you just talked about, he was released based on his counsel statement unconditionally from the BNI cells. And it goes back to ask, why was he left,
though? Because they were insisting that they wanted to wait for the court to grant that order to be released before they would actually...
But he withdrew it
because
eventually.
They don't trust, yes, exactly. They don't trust the AG and Iyoko as well.
Yeah.
And those questions were raised as to why he was released unconditionally.
Exactly.
I mean, out of the blue.
Yes.
What are the reasons why he was released?
Yeah.
Because if you've made allegations against him, you've gone to court to see if they can even reverse, you know, that travel, you know, order that was given and all that. Why do you suddenly just release him?
Yes.
Explanations need to be given for that as well.
Yeah.
You know?
No, but that's true. And I think that, well, in all forms of expediency, we would want for the aesthetics and then also for the politics of it to make it look right, that the institutions are working, etc. But also, the government of the day and its institutions that work with it also should know that these are negative publicity baggages that come with some of these concerns that have been raised about how you pick people up. Because then we have this cycle of, again, commenting that this is a semblance of a police state, so to speak. It doesn't need to be a continuum. And then we need to set the right precedent. I won't be surprised whenever the MPP comes back to power, people will be picked up haphazardly, as we've seen. So I guess, well,
it's become like the game of the political
parties.
parties.
Deal with it.
Yes.
But
there's a lot to talk about.
What are you talking about when it comes to big issues?
Okay, so this morning, of course, we will delve into this Dennis Miracle Sabuaji Iyoko matter. And Richard Ahiagba is joining us. He is the Director of Communications. Exactly.
The same position that Dennis Miracle Sabuaji is going for. Yes.
Mr. Ahiagba is not contesting Dennis?
I don't know. I have no idea. I guess he would be the best person
sure you ask.
to answer. Oh, definitely. We need to find out if he's going to contest. And if so, when is his own video coming out? Because
I suspect he may be listening to this question from Roland, and he could answer that.
I know Bella will ask.
No, definitely. I mean, I'm going to ask him if he's going to contest Dennis. Or maybe he has his eyes set on another position within the party. Who knows? Maybe national...
Now, Richard is a great guy, so whichever position, I mean, he needs to be voted for, so...
Okay, well, I mean, we'll leave that to the delegates to decide eventually when that time comes. But yes, Richard Ahiagba will be joining us. He's the Director of Communications for the NPP. He's going to be speaking for someone who's trying to take his job. Interesting, right?
That's why I didn't say it.
Yeah, no, it's just, I mean, that's just by the way. Good morning, Richard. Theophilus Jim Megan is a private legal practitioner, also a team member for the NDC. Andrew Appiah-Dankwa is the Director of Legal Affairs for the United Party. And Richard Kumador is a security expert. And so we'll get into this. And of course, if at the time we're having this conversation, the NPP begins that march to Iyoko, we'll pick that feed and update you on exactly
so
what to
Gaiji says that Richard Ahiagba is vying for first vice chair.
I suspected it.
I figured he was moving on to another position. First vice chair.
But it would have been nice to see, you know, like number 2, Richard Ahiagba, number 1, Dennis on the bar. But this one also.
It's a big man.
First vice chair.
First vice chair. I thought he was going to go straight for chairman. Yeah, let's carry on.
Yes, but I think there was also the bit about the clash between the military and the people at Chebi in the eastern region, and we understand one person was shot in the leg. So hopefully that's one of the things that Richard Kumador should be able to help us unpack as we cross over for this morning
and the Concerned Association of Small Scale Miners are also calling for the interdiction of the officer who allegedly shot this man as well. In fact, yesterday they even spoke on News 360,
Yeah.
and they were asked a question as to why they are calling for the interdiction now and not waiting for investigations to be carried out before they do. And they said even before that, I mean, just the fact that there's video evidence that this man discharged a weapon in such a manner, he needs to be interdicted. And then eventually, if there's justification for what he did and they find him not culpable, they can bring him back. But as it stands now, they don't see why he should still remain in office. And so we'll see if we can connect with any of them to speak on this matter as well. In fact, for this morning, we'll be... Okay, we already have Mr. Richard Kumado on.
Yes.
And he'll be joining us for the This Morning conversation.
Yes.
Of course, sports will come your way and a lot more conversations as well. The cleanup exercise happened over the weekend, so I'm sure Accra is looking great. I hope so.
No, really. I've
hope
seen heaps of
rubbish.
Yes, around.
I'll tell you where I saw
even
some.
the silt on, like yesterday, on the Mahama Road.
I saw some.
Yes.
Should I even mention where? Let me just mention so that maybe the authorities. Hopefully this morning has been clear because it was yesterday. So the Vice Chancellor's office next to the UPSA hostel, right in front of it, I saw some heap of rubbish right in front of it, and I was wondering if that was left from
spiritual monitors.
I mean, I was just passing through and I saw it.
Cursory observation.
I thought that it's
actually
necessary,
yes, it's
especially for a very important
Yes.
office
Yeah.
as the Vice Chancellor's office. I hope that it has been cleared. I said yesterday because I saw it around 3 p.m. Almost 4 p.m. yesterday. I'm hoping that as of this morning it's been cleared. If it's not been cleared, I'm just alerting
On
the
the
authorities so
Mahama
they
Road.
can go there.
Let's check it because I saw it
the
Saturday
roundabout.
evening.
Which roundabout?
And then on
Down
Sunday
roundabout.
morning, afternoon, it was still there. Just heaps
Well,
of silt just in the middle of the road.
And
I
the
think
rains
when
are coming, you know.
Yes.
Anyway.
This morning it drizzled. I don't know whether it rained where you are.
Well, we're told to expect rains this morning,
Yeah.
so I'm sure we'll get into that. But let's get ready for the This Morning conversation. Mr. Richard Kumado is on standby, and we'll be speaking to him about that clash in Chebi.
Association, one thing we want to put across is we don't support illegal mining and we don't encourage illegal mining. What we advocate for is responsible and sustainable small-scale mining. The person that was shot, you could see that he posed no threat to the military. He held no weapons, and he was even he turned his back on this military, and unfortunately, he was shot in the leg. If you recall, such incident happened in Obuasi when Operation Vanguard was initiated. Somebody who was in his house was shot, and as we speak now, we did not see or read about any investigation being done. You know, in enforcing the law, there should be a human face to the enforcement. The fact that people have been putting or been given power to help solve this canker means that everybody they see is their enemy. I believe in sometimes dialogue, and we believe in at least Georgia.
Okay.
You could see that even though some of the youth were agitated, at least they could have used a different approach in solving the problem.
I see.
We don't want a situation where the fight against violence will bring about loss of life. That is the reason why, as an association, we are pressing on the interdiction of the officer who shot this gentleman.
And this is the This Morning segment on New Day on TV3. We did tell you that we'll be bringing you a conversation on this clash between the military and residents of Chebi, which led to the shooting of one person in the leg. And we're joined by Mr. Richard Kumado. He's a fraud and security consultant. Good morning to you, sir. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Beatrice.
If you can tell us what information you have picked on this very incident and whether or not at this stage, based on the information you have, the call by the Small Scale Miners Association for the officer involved to be interdicted is in the right or wrong?
No, usually, once it's an incident involving a soldier who shot any person at all, whether it's a police officer or a soldier, there will be incident report, and the report will be investigated. and that will lead to the interdiction or an investigation properly. And when outcomes are made available, then decisions will be taken by the hierarchy. I think it's in place that they call for action to be taken, but to be acting specifically for the soldier to be interdicted, I don't think that is in their power. They should leave it for the military hierarchy, particularly when the police is also involved, investigating the case and to make sure that they've come to some level of conclusions of what happened on the day, why the weapon was discharged, and why the person who was hit got hit.
Mr. Kumado, I hear you say that it's not within their place to call for the interdiction of the officer. At the same time,
yes, they may call for an action, and they may ask for investigation, but will be prescribing a specific charge against an officer who got involved in a shooting incident in a manner we are talking about. I think they might be stretching it a little bit too far. I overheard him said similar thing happened at Obuasi, and they haven't heard what the outcomes are. Usually, because the media might not follow up, there might be some level of conclusions, and they will not tell the general public in that regard. But all incidents that happen in relation to police officers or law enforcement officers in general, you can be sure internally they will investigate it. And when it means public prosecution, those ones takes place.
So you've taken us through the process, but the people are asking for the interdiction of the officer immediately, even before there's any sort of investigation. You think that they are wrong with that as well?
Not that they are wrong, but I think they are stretching it a little bit too far. It's not within their power to be telling us who should be interdicted, who should not be interdicted. Once there's a shooting incident and it is clear that somebody has been shot, the police will investigate it, the BNR will investigate it, and the military department will also investigate it. Once investigations are done, outcomes will be made known and decisions will be taken. But to be saying it should be interdicted, once they have not had interdiction, then there will be relation that actions have not been taken, when in actual fact, incident is investigated and actions have been taken against officers or otherwise.
Mr. Kumado, how do you interpret these clashes that we often see between security officials, particularly the military, and residents, anytime they have to move to communities to deal with illegal mining issues? How do you interpret these?
So there are two different things. If we are talking about 9 months, then that is the statutory authority set up to deal with issues of illegal mining or inappropriate mining. And they had crashes with illegal miners over the period. Their boss himself has come under fire, the former one. If we are talking about soldiers being called in into a crisis situation where the police felt an additional force is needed, then they may call the specialized forces within the police or the military to come in. Once the military get involved, there are processes and procedures to de-escalate and to ensure that law and order is maintained. In the course of that, one of the incidents that happened could happen where somebody could be shot, depending on the nature of what is happening, the persons involved, where it's happening, and the outcome that is expected. And the law enforcement officers, on the other hand, are also aware that their operational activities could be litigated in court, or it could come under public scrutiny. And accountability and responsibility in terms of professional outlook is what is expected from them. And those who flout the laws or breach the standard procedure will be dealt with in accordance with the code of ethics and in line with the standard procedure. So this is the basic structure, and this is what happens within. The military, the military in particular, they work with two laws, the military law and the civil law. So issues about assault, when it involves a military officer, the police comes in to take care of it. And the police have the power to investigate properly and to prescribe charges against officers who are found culpable.
And so, particularly for this one, they'll be dealt with both the civil and military law. Is that what you're saying?
Definitely, yes. If the officers are tried within the military circles and is found culpable, then somebody has been shot. That aspect will also be dealt with by the police. So if you realize on your screen, the first thing that pop up is that the police is investigating it, because the police are the first respondent when it comes to public safety and security assurances within our communities.
Now, this is not the first time that we're going to see a standoff between the military and then the civilian population undertaking illegal mining in many of those areas where we have the presence of those operations. Do you think the past incidences which might have been reported and also seeing the standoff between the civilian population and the military might have made these operational teams of NIMOS take a very hard stance on the population when they get to meet them?
If it is NIMOS, then they have a regime of work, and their modus of operandi has shown over the period. If it is a new military unit that has been calling, then the determinations are different. NIMOS have an analysis department, they have a research department, and their movements are mainly done or coordinated by these departments. So that is one that needed to be said. And number two, I think what has created a problem for us over the years is that public education is low in the relationship between law enforcement officers, especially when they are in full gear operation, and what the responsibilities of civilians are. If it is an illegal mining operation going on, and you have NIMOS officers in there, then one of the objectives is to stop it. They will curtail it, they will stop the supply lines, and these officers have a duty and a responsibility to ensure that they operate within the guidelines. On the other side, miners who have invested so much money into these activities, being taken surprise by these NIMOS officers or law enforcement officers in general, will usually resist. And in the course of resistance, if they put up a behavior that raises their skills up, then the law enforcement officers will take decisions that they will not be happy with. In the midst of all that, issues are likely to happen. And that is why when they happen, whether favorably or adversely, it is important for it to be reassessed, investigated, and decisions are taken out of it. So that is the premises for which you will have some of these crashes over time.
So what should be done now, particularly when the community leaders among the illegal miners are raising concerns about the actions of the military presence?
Let's stop inappropriate mining. Let's mine properly. Our water bodies are being destroyed. If we are doing it properly, we need a guided principles. Then you wouldn't have a soldier coming after you. Then again, soldiers who have been assigned in a special duty like NIMOS or any other task force, remember you have a responsibility to ensure that you work within the guided guidelines. When issues crop up, make yourself available because accountability and responsibility will be demanded of you.
All right, thank you very much. Richard Kumado, security consultant, helping us try to look at the subject matter.
One thing before I go off. Are you ready, Rum? Are you ready?
Yes.
The law enforcement officers, they don't have cells in anywhere far away from where these officers work. So when we have an issue where politicians in particular keep telling us their ancestors has been arrested and they can't find them, and they want to create a problem for the law enforcement officers, I think as part of public education, we need to really advise people and educate them how some of these arrests are done and what the implications are. When you have, if Richard Kumado is picked up today, my lawyers will be informed why I am picked up, and myself, I will be informed why I am picked up and where I am kept. If it's for political purposes, then we can create the notion that Richard Kumado has been picked and my lawyers don't know where I am, and I have been picked for no cause. But if the law enforcement officers are doing their job in line of duty and in line with standard guidelines, then everybody can be picked at all times, and everybody can be picked, especially when crime has been seen to be committed or you have come under criminal investigations. And I think I need to make these points so strongly, and so that we stop this whole bastardization of security agencies when they are doing their job. If they don't do their work, and we keep on bastardizing them, then we are going to have a country where there will be chaos. And I don't think many of the people who bastardize many of these security officers in the course of duty know exactly what they are talking about, and they don't know exactly what it takes to be a law enforcement officer.
Really?
To be a head of YOCO, to be the Director General BNI, and to be the Director General Cybersecurity Authority, and to be an IGP. These are professionals who do their job in line of law, and they know exactly what they are doing, and they don't just go out there picking everybody. And the law states that within 48 hours, you have to be sent to court. If there are issues for which you are not being sent to court, your lawyers will be informed, not your political party. And that is the point I want to make. The NDC will not be informed, the NPP will not be informed. If you have a legal representation, they will be informed. And if you do not have, the state will provide you one. So I needed to clear this add on this particular issue that keep coming at us.
Okay, Mr. Kumado, just hold on there. Just hold on. It's quite an interesting issue because he raised the issue of YOCO security agencies as well.
Yes, but really, I think the bone of contention here, Mr. Kumado, is the modus operandi of the security agencies. And we've had Hanan, for instance, who was arrested at the airport. We had his lawyer raise issues that the court had even granted him medical leave to travel. At the end of the day, he was released unconditionally, and people are asking questions why. And then we have Dennis Miracles Abuaje. I hear the point you're making about the fact that YOCO or any other security agency doesn't need to inform political parties. But what about his lawyers or perhaps even people that you could consider family? Aren't you concerned about that as a security analyst?
When Hannah was arrested at the airport and you hear the interviews granted by his lawyer and the Attorney General going to court, at the time he was arrested, within the 48 hours, the law enforcement officers have a right to do their investigations without breaching his right or without curtailing his liberties. If his lawyer felt so strong that those things were curtailed, he can go to court. The lawyer came to the air, granted an interview, that became political propaganda. The Deputy Attorney General or Attorney General went to court with fresh evidence. Then they went behind the scene and did what they are supposed to do as a reasonable cause of representing the client. Then he was released. When he was released, the actual reasons why he was released, his lawyers never come to the general public to say it. You remember somebody was arrested, a judge gave an order that this person should be sent to Insawam for remand purposes. His lawyers pleaded with the judge that this person should be sent to the BNI. They never tell the general public that it's based on their instructions that the person was sent to the BNI. Then they create an impression that the BNI is holding somebody unnecessarily. That is not right. If anybody felt that the law enforcement officers have done something wrong, the reasonable course of action is to challenge it at court. But nobody, I'm saying it again, nobody will be arrested when there's no cause. You will always be arrested when you have come under crime investigations and when you have come under a notice of a person of interest. And whenever you are arrested, how you are arrested, it's not in the mouth of politicians to say. Always, we have heard this old thing about modus of operandi and a Rambo style, and nobody has prescribed any other way. And nobody has said, my client's rights have been abused in the course of arresting anybody and the charges against them. And we've seen this pattern over years when people are arrested and we make so much, we bastardize the law enforcement officers for doing their statutory work and for doing their job. Nobody has sued any of them and they won at court because they breached the right of somebody they have arrested. And the point I'm making is that if Richard Kumado is picked up today, I will be told the reasons why I am picked up. My lawyers will be informed and my family will be informed. My political party will not be informed why I am picked up. And it's not in the mouth of my political party to create an impression that I have been taken to some bush somewhere that nobody knows where I am. No, that is not true.
But Mr. Kumado,
so I'm saying that as part of public education, let's clear the air that there are standard rules of engagement and there's a procedure when it comes to arresting people, and particularly when prosecution is on the table. And they deal more with their lawyers and their families rather than their political parties.
Mr. Kumado, fair point made, but you understand that in Ghana, we have had the political parties demonize the security agencies, particularly when they are out of office. Both parties, NDC, NPP, have done that, as well as the other political parties as well. You do not think that because of this, it is the in the interest of Yoko and other security agencies to make their modus operandi very clear, just so we are able to clear this unnecessary politicization around their work?
You have spoken to me severally on these issues. Have I not made the modus of operandi very clear? I have spoken about it severally, morning, afternoon, evening. I have said it, I have stretched it, I have written books on it, I have distributed it across the media space, and people in politics have read many of these books. As somebody who has worked within the space for over 20 years, it is a simple structure, and it is a simple basis. You remember in the days of one other person, I think Chama went to me, and his lawyer came out, Uncle Apia Kubi came out and said, when they got to the BNI, they were treated with the highest respect. When they got to Yoko, they were treated with highest respect, and the officers stayed overnight in order to provide security services to their lawyers in line with standard procedure. If Apia Kubi had not come out to speak as a lawyer who is representing a client, then the story would have gone out there that arbitrarily the BNI and Yoko and the police are holding people against their will. And I'm saying that it's not in the mouth of politicians. If we continue doing that, then best practice will be overlooked and the standard procedure will be overlooked. And we keep on referring to, we are not a military dictatorship. There are different types of democracy. And even in the democratic state where rule of law and maintenance of law and order is upheld by law enforcement officers, we keep on bastardizing them. And I'm saying that these guys are doing their work. It takes a hard day to be a law enforcement officer, a police officer, a BNI officer, a Yoko officer, cybersecurity authority officer, or a NACOP officer. They know exactly what they are doing. If people feel their rights has been abused or their liberties have been curtailed, they need to go to court. But when you are arrested, the first point of call or the first line of call is not your political party. It is your family and it is your lawyers, because you will need a legal representation, particularly when interrogation and interviewing and questioning will be done. And that is the standard procedure.
How about instances when these individuals accuse the security agencies of not even giving them access to the lawyers or family? How do you interpret that?
No, that cannot be true. If I am arrested today, what is important is that, has my rights been abused? Has my liberties been curtailed? Did they follow the standard procedure? If these things are answered, then a lawyer cannot complain, I have not been given access to my client. Of course, lawyers have gone to the BNI, lawyers have gone to Yoko, lawyers have gone to the police, and all of them can attest to the fact that the standard procedure was followed. So this whole thing about people has been arrested, we don't know where they are, we are not informed as politicians and political parties. Please, let's stop it. It doesn't order well for anybody. And when we travel across the globe, sometimes they laugh at us that what is happening in your country, you are in democracy. The democratic principles shows that maintenance of law and order is a key. It's key, it's very key, and it's a priority. If we don't do it, and we follow this political narrative, and we overlook standard practice and best practice, we might be creating a long-term problem for us that will get up one day and it has gotten out of hand.
Knowing that we are in a modern society at the moment, let me ask you your thought. Would you say that there is a need to work on the communication of these security agencies, and how, if so?
When the FBI arrests you, when the Department of Justice, when MI5, MI6, and the BNI arrest you, they will not speak to the general public. You know that everything they do, particularly when prosecution is on the table, Attorney General is the #1 prosecutor in this country. In some instances, you hear Yoko issuing a communique to the general public why you have been arrested. The BNI wouldn't do so. In some instances, the police, the CID boss calls a press conference, educate the general public on what happened. But immediately when you are arrested, as part of what they do, they don't come out to say, you arrested ABCD. And I said that the first point of call, if they pick me up in my house, my family will be informed, my lawyers will be informed why I have been picked up, where I am being kept. Because one of the things that happen is that security agencies, because of privacy laws and data protection laws in this country, and for your right not to be abused and your liberties not to be curtailed, they will want to deal more with your lawyers so that it become a standardized regime where we are operating in line with law and in line with standard procedure. And in that case, it makes life easier for everybody rather than speaking to political parties who have no business with the person who have come under crime investigation or the person who has been arrested. It's in the same line when you have been extradited from this country and you get to whichever country is looking for you, you'll be put before court, your lawyers will be provided. If you don't have a lawyer, the state have the responsibility to provide you with a lawyer, because that is where the issue is. And I'm saying that, yes, I understand all this, but nobody will be picked when there's no just cause. Because before you are picked, there are normal boxes that needed to be ticked. And if arrest is on the table, they go through a hard deal of due diligence before they say, let's go and pick Richard Kumado because he has done this, he has done that, or let's invite him, or let's grant him access to, his lawyers and many of those things they do. They do not just do it capriciously or because they want to have fun with anybody. And let's stop it, because these are officers who are putting everything for this country, and we should not be creating an impression that they don't know what they are doing. They are not lawyers, they have not been to school, and they just get up in the morning and by afternoon they are picking up people in the street and we want to bastardize them. I think that is a bad manners and we need to stop it.
We need to stop it, he says. Thank you very much, Mr. Richard Kumado, who is a fraud and security consultant, of course, sharing his thoughts with us on both the military and Chebi residents clash, and of course this Iyoko arrest and other individuals who've been arrested as well. But there's a message from Aziz Dollar for you, Roland. It says, Roland should let us see the flood pictures before we can believe.
Who?
Aziz Dollar. Yes, that's a message.
Aziz Dollar, that's a very disrespectful message.
And then he says...
Because when Dennis said his place got flooded, he sympathized with him, but for me...
I don't know, maybe the way you explained it, he wasn't
convinced.
He wasn't convinced, and so...
Even Bella is
laughing about it.
Yeah. Even you, the way it's not fair.
It's not fair. But this morning we're saying, I asked you for picture evidence, so... Yeah, thank you, and he says you're welcome back.
Thank you.
Yes.
And a couple of messages, quite mixed reactions to what Mr. Richard Kumado is saying, particularly on the operations of the security agencies and the quasi-judicial bodies and how they have to operate. This one is coming from Ejay Boateng, who says that Mr. Kumado's justification is quite worrying, even though he's an expert, because the way they've been set up, if they keep operating that way, the next political party that comes to power, which will be the MPP, will also repeat same. And again, we'll have the same circus. And so something has got to give. And we need to stop at some point in time. Master Planner Jr. said that he's now officially the communication officer for the Kintampo North constituency. And he's been elected as such. That's what he says. So congratulations to you, Zach.
Yes.
That's he says Master Planner Junior. But Zach, you have to, on your poster, you have to put your real name there. This is your political nickname that you put. Let's know your real name, Zach. And then, but you know, the thing is, he went unopposed.
Oh, nice.
So I don't know.
Then they like him that much in that area.
Well, maybe it shows that how hard he's working is appreciated by the individuals.
There's a message from Stephen Penn in Wa, Upper West Region. It says, good morning, Beatrice, Bella, and Papa Ro. Papa Ro, welcome back from your sabbatical.
Good morning. I think we spoke about 2 days ago.
Oh, nice. Prince Henry Koforidia says, good morning, Queen Beatrice. You people are looking awesome and fantastic. Happy seeing Roland back. Best regards to Bella. Bella can hear you. And there's Kwame Acidity Ahafo Atrensia says, good morning, Beatrice. The level of impunity in this country is too much. And how can you attack the military in uniform? Military, the best. Special greetings to Honorable Alhaji Ishak. There is another message coming from I believe Sherry Giovanni says, good morning, Beatrice. I think the best way to go about the arrest of Miracles should have been an invitation to him and his lawyers by the security agencies. This Rumble-style arrest and bad signals to send bad signals to the citizens. The elephants does not forget. Free Dennis Miracles Abuaje now. Mustafa. Roland, you say Mustafa. Lower Manyakobo says, what is the MPP interest over Miracles Abuaje arrest by Iyoko over Katechie, a FIFA Kwame arrest over the weekend? When it's chop time, no rise up, but when problem comes, everyone, patriots should rise up.
Well, good morning to you, Engineer Samuel Chung. Wishing you all the best. You live in Asherman with you and the rest of the family. So we do have more comments coming through. And this one is coming from Zelis Dwayne in the UK, who says that interesting points being raised so far, but we shouldn't forget that excessive criticism of our institutions when they are doing their constitutional mandate leads them to be dormant and not undertake their work according to the law. We shouldn't forget that the law is the law, and that's Zelis Dwayne watching us from the UK. Prince Nani, good morning to you as well. Hajia Laura too, and good morning to you. Asked whether she was going for position. She's supporting Wache Jakun for chairmanship, so that's that's a good thing as well. So and then Kofi Abochi from Qatar says that, well, sorry for what happened to you, but also there are many communities in Angola that have been inundated by flood waters due to the overflowing of lagoons as a result of rainfall patterns and then also high sea levels. And they need to be given attention as well. And that's coming from Philip Abuchi in the Keta constituency. Randa Shao also has a message for us. Says it's quite interesting all that is happening so far. We should let the institutions work. That's all. Good morning to James, the rest of the family as well, Randa.
Yes, and let me remind you that you can always pick up your day, the Milky Way, with the rich, smooth taste of peck milk shortcake. It is just pure delight, and you can find them in all grocery shops around you. And when we come back, we'll bring you the big issue plus some more. Do stay with us.
notification that Dennis Miracles Abuaje, who is the communications director for the flag bearer of the NPP, Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, and who has recently also launched his bid to run for the communications director for the NPP, was picked up at the Accra International Airport by Iyoko allegedly. And, well, we barely have information on this matter, but the NPP has already issued a statement on this. They're asking for his release. They're also asking for details pertaining to his arrest. It's been a number of hours, over 12 hours or so since this news broke, and we still have not heard from Iyoko as to whether indeed they have picked up Dennis Miracles Abuaje and what the reason for his arrest could be. And so this morning, the NPP says they are marching to Iyoko to demand for his release because they don't understand why this is happening at this point. So we'll get into that conversation. Mr. Richard Ahiagba will be joining us. He is currently the communications director for the NPP. And also in the studios at this point, I have lawyer Andrew Appiah-Dankwa. He's the director for legal affairs at the United Party. Good morning. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great.
It's good to see you. I'm fine. How was your weekend?
Very quiet.
Yeah, very quiet.
Yeah.
You didn't engage in the cleanup exercise? You were busy?
In fact, I was on CTFM
in
the morning, and so afterwards the cleanup
had ended. Yeah. Okay, all right. Well, also right across the table from me is Mr. Theophilus Chimega. He's also a lawyer. He's a private legal practitioner and a member of the NDC communications team. Good morning, Council.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you too?
I'm fine, thank you. I mean, we've talked about how your weekend went already.
Yes, my weekend was...
You enjoyed yourself?
Yes, super fantastic.
Give yourself a treat as well.
Yes, some akpele and agbametadi and chalk with some kobe and ajiado and...
Okay, agbametadi is which one, the small fish?
No, agbametadi is ground pepper.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
I'm lost, obviously.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And the other one you mentioned something else.
Ajiado.
Ajiado as well.
That's the one that's smaller than amani, but the same color.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Okay, I've seen that.
Yes.
Okay, Ajiado and
agbametadi. Yes.
Next time, invite us.
I certainly will. Yes.
I'm sure you'd have tried
Friday myself, I had a nice meal of abobi tadi.
Yes.
Oh, I see.
So the Ajiado is the senior to abobi.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Abobi is the smaller one.
The smaller one. The Kita schoolboy is properly so
called.
Yes,
Abobi tadi.
Yes.
What do you have it with?
Banku.
Okay.
Akpele
You
is
also
the
enjoyed
flower one.
Akpele?
Yes.
So it's an Akpele kind of weekend, I guess. Anyway, also to you watching us as well on Facebook, Adido, Enoch Eli says Ajiado is herring. And he says Iyoko must ready a lot of pepper spray. No, there's not going to be any disturbance. Don't worry. They are peacefully walking to Iyoko or marching to Iyoko to demand his release. That's all. Bismarck Mesa says, good morning. We already know what Richard Ahiagba is going to say. Well, yes, that he'll be joining us on the show, and we'll see if we can connect with a security expert as well to speak to this matter. But let's get into it right now. And again, you can reach us on Facebook at TV3 Ghana. We're streaming live. Your messages, questions, opinions are welcome. Also on DSTV channel 279. But yesterday, towards late afternoon, we got indication that the NPP's Dennis Miracles Abuaje had been picked up by Iyoko. And in fact, we're told that he was picked up at the Accra International Airport. And so towards evening, we got a release, official release from the NPP signed by the General Secretary asking for details. And so let's put that on the screen right now, read it, and then we'll get into our conversation from this point. So this was signed by Justin Frimpong Kodia, who's the General Secretary of the NPP. And this is what he said. In fact, this is the release. He says, officers of Iyoko, with the help of immigration officers, arrested Dennis Miracles Abuaje at the airport and took him into custody. Since then, they have denied him his lawyer's access, and his whereabouts is not known. It's not decided, with no charges preferred. Let us be clear what this is. It is not law enforcement. It is intimidation. Dennis Miracles Abuaje is one of the loudest and most effective critics of this government. He has asked hard questions about Galamsey. He's challenged this administration's record. He's announced his candidacy for a leadership position in our party only hours ago. And now he sits in Iyoko custody. The NPP therefore demands that Iyoko release Dennis Miracles Abuaje immediately, or charge him and put him before a court of competent jurisdiction as the Constitution requires, that he be granted unrestricted access to his lawyers and his family without further delay. Article 14.2 of the 1992 Constitution is not a suggestion. That this government ends the pattern of politically motivated invitations, arrests and detentions targeted at members of the NPP. We say to Iyoko and to those directing it, institutions of state are not private weapons. Ghanaians are watching, and Ghana's institutions will outlive this government. To our members, stay calm, stay lawful, stay united. Intimidation has never silenced this party, and it will not begin today. And so this is signed by the General Secretary of the NPP. And in fact, speaking of the NPP as well, we have Mr. Richard Ahiagba, who's just joined us in the studio. He's a Director of Communications as well. Good morning.
Good morning.
It's been a while. I haven't seen you in
I was going to say,
about
you
5
can't even mention
years.
my name anymore.
Why can't I mention your name?
Because it's been a long time.
So I shouldn't mention it?
No, I'm saying you can't mention my name anymore.
No.
Because it's been a long time since you mentioned my name. It's like, what name is this? I can't even.
It sounds weird.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
But nice to
How
see
have you
too.
been?
I've been okay.
Yeah.
Been looking at you on TV.
Okay.
So it's good to see you in person.
Good to see you
after a
as
long
well.
time.
Yes, I know.
Good,
And this morning, I mean, just by the way, we were wondering if you were running for Director of Communications, but we got indication that you're running for what? First Vice Chair?
National First Vice Chair.
Oh, I see. How's that going? Has the campaign started?
Yes, it started.
I see.
But it officially be launching probably this week. Yeah.
Okay, because we thought you were going into competition with Dennis, but that's not happening.
No, that's not.
You're tired of, you want to move to the next level?
I want to probably be in a more leadership decision-making role.
Okay.
From what I have seen as communication director, there are a few things that we need to screw properly and to ensure that we are moving in the right direction together with one voice to try and recapture power, build confidence again, and win the confidence of Ghanaians in our vision to develop Ghana in freedom. So I think that being a National First Vice gives me the visibility, the vision to be able to see and support the national chairman with the reforms that we need to put in place to move the country along.
Well, all the best with that as well.
Absolutely.
Hopefully you go uncontested.
Oh, no, that
doesn't
is not a
look it.
possibility. Yeah. So it's a slot of 3. So if I go, I can't be first, second, and third. So the others will contest.
I see. All the
My brother, perhaps, he hasn't declared yet. So.
Oh, your brother? Is he
Once
still a member of the
always
NPP? Okay.
Yes, you know how footballers, when they go to training, they are one team, but then they will play from the opposite side just to prepare.
I see.
He'll come home.
Okay, we've had other people describe them as NPC, which is why I'm surprised you're saying.
No, but in his heart of hearts, his conduct, yes, will be, but that is just because we are training, right? He'll come home. You see from this morning.
So if they intend to come back, will the NPP
Absolutely. He just has to be remorseful, and then he'll be welcome.
He needs to apologize again.
Maybe not, but just say, no, I did that out of some inducement of desire or ambition, and so therefore I'm back home. He will come.
He will come. Okay, we hear you. Maybe when he becomes first vice chair, that's one of the things that he's going to champion.
Absolutely.
Okay.
You see that a day where even Honorable Guzitano, he went, he came back, right?
Hey. Okay.
You understand?
I understand.
Well, I can give you a list of people. They've come back. And so, home is home. No, home is the UP.
Anyway, let's get into our conversation now. Where is Dennis Miracles Obaje? Mr. Richard Ahimba.
Bella, good morning, and good morning to my senior and my good brother. Dennis is somewhere, but we don't know where he's at. Our understanding is that Iyoko has him. Why they have him, we don't know. Whether there's a basis for that drama, it's clear to me that there is no basis for it. In a democracy where people should have a right to access their lawyers in situations like this government decides to deny him that right. They deem it a privilege that when they please, they will allow him. And so till now, he hasn't spoken to his lawyers from what we understand. He traveled out of the country to the U.S., came back Saturday night. He was seized at the airport. Now, here is a guy coming into a jurisdiction where you control. So at any given time, you can find him in this country. But you chose to detain him when he has come back. It's as if he was running from you, or as if you prevented him from traveling, he found his way to travel. He didn't break any law traveling, and then he has come back into this country. And so what is this whole appetite of just arrest, for what? That's how you can't understand. So he's here. Okay. If you need him, and on a Saturday night, what do you need him for? Sunday, what do you need him for? You are not working. And so Monday, when the man is here, if you want to surveil him, you want anything at all, you can do that. You have the architecture to do that. So why seize him on a Saturday night?
Does it mean that there was no prior invitation to come to
There is no conversation as to whether we need you, and he said, no, I won't come.
Is he currently under investigation for something?
Well, I mean, I don't want to go into that.
Okay.
You understand? But practically before us is why you have seized him. Even if he's under investigation, what risk does it pose? Why did you allow him to travel in the first place if you had an investigation ongoing to do with him? And if you are comfortable to let him go, and he is comfortable to come back in, this drama, who does it serve? How does it help your investigation? Because if you're already investigating an individual and is attending to, your calls, what is this?
So you say he was picked up on Saturday night?
Saturday night,
at the airport.
At the airport upon return.
And between Saturday and this morning, he's not been given legal counsel?
Access? Absolutely. Before I went to bed last night, which was somewhere around close to midnight, the briefing I had was he's not spoken to his lawyers. Okay? And see, so you don't understand what the government is doing. And I was talking on some other network, and I'm pleading to the president to say that the balance of his work record, okay, in public life that we know, doesn't marry with what is happening in his government. So, but his silence brings this to his doorstep, because ultimately he bears responsibility. So why is this happening and he's quiet? And you understand that once this thing is happening, it is democracy that is being weakened. Because if it's happening to Miracles today, it could happen to my brother tomorrow. And if all of us remain quiet, gradually we are weakening the spirit of democracy. The voice of dissent is critical, because now we don't know why he was arrested. Our best imagination is that he's been detained because of him being an MPP and a critic of the government. Okay, and because they haven't told us any other reason why.
So that could be the reason?
Yes.
What would be the reason for detaining him because of that?
Well, why wouldn't they have a reason? And the point is that if they want to cure this, then they should tell us why. They should allow him access to his lawyer so we get the reason why he was detained on Saturday night, okay, when they don't need him for any investigation. Because they just kept him, literally. Nobody interviewed, did anything, just kept him, because everybody is weekending, right? So nobody interviewed him. And I'm saying that our best guess at this moment is that he is being detained because he's a critic. And the reason why they would do that is that they've done that to many people who are criticizing this government on social media, TikTok, X, whatever. They're arresting people for saying president is that, arresting people for this. So this is part of a long list of people who have been arrested to silence criticism, to silence dissent in a democracy, unfortunately. And so it pains me that after these incidents, we have to constantly remind this government and His Excellency that this one is a democracy. Okay, this can happen in somewhere, excuse me to say, not indicting them, but for what it is, in Burkina Faso, where it's not a democracy, elsewhere where it's not a democracy. But here, it's a democracy, and you've got to respect the rights of people. You can't do this in a democracy.
You seem to have concluded on what could be the reason for his arrest,
because they haven't told us the reason.
You're indicating that it's because he's very vocal about, or critical about government and, of course, the way they're going about things. But at the same time, we also do understand that there's been some investigation in the past. So should we not just be a bit careful with the conjecture until we get that statement from Iyoko?
So the investigations in the past that that I know about, which I don't want to get into, was he arrested during those investigations like this that you saw? What is the motivation for arresting him Saturday night when you've been already engaging him, you call him and he comes? So this arrest, what is it to serve? Is it that you wanted him, you haven't gotten him? But when he was leaving, you control the airport with all the national security people swimming in that space, right? You let him go. and he came on his own. So he's coming to the place where you always find him and bring him to answer questions. So what is this one? Right? And then we made that conclusion because this is not the first, okay? And it's not necessarily that it is because it's Dennis, so you are arresting him. But we have a pattern of arrest and silence strategy of this government. Okay, of many people who are critical of the government. And this is one of many of such arrests.
And just to make it clear, he's not been invited officially. You are not aware of any invitation from Iyoko or any of these institutions for him to answer any questions?
If there were, if there were, the prior investigations, this is just, if Iyoko wants to talk to him, the same way other institutions were doing it, they could have just called him. So there is no basis to arrest him just to be able to talk to him because the man is available.
So we spoke to Mr. Richard Kumado this morning. He's a security expert, and he says that the BNI, now it's BNI again, or, you know, Iyoko and all these institutions, they do not owe any political party any response as to what's going on. If you are concerned about where your party member is, you should go to court.
Respectfully, Mr. Kumado is my brother, but that's a reckless statement to make. In a democracy, the government owes a democracy explanation. So I don't understand what he means by that.
He says they are not supposed to report to the political
It's
party.
reckless. It's reckless. Whatever thing he's talking is reckless. You are in a democracy, you say don't owe citizens accountability. I'm coming. Okay. If you allow that to pass, he will do it to my brother. He will do it to me, and it doesn't owe anybody explanation.
The modus operandi of
it doesn't matter.
Why? They are not supposed to report to the political parties.
Reckless statement. You should have told him to stop it. Look, this is a democracy fundamentally. BNI is part of the democratic architecture to enforce laws. They don't have a law unto themselves. We, the people, this is our power given to the government to exercise on our behalf. For anybody to suggest 1 minute to say that an institution in a democratic state can answer to the people is reckless. What is this?
He says go to
It doesn't make any sense. Just stop it. Doesn't make any sense. Where does he get that idea from? So there's a different set of rules in a democracy for some people that they can seize people without reference to democracy, without laws? How? How does that happen?
All right.
What kind of reckless commentary is that?
Well,
that they don't have responsibility, don't owe anybody an explanation. So you can be seized and then somebody can come on TV and say nobody owes explanation why you are seized.
All right. Well, producers, if you can.
It's very nauseous to hear this morning.
Hold on, Richard. Let's see if we can raise him on the line again just so he can expatiate on this statement that he's made. But Richard,
nobody should allow that.
Calm down.
No, I'm down. But I'm just saying that when at the point we're having a conversation saying that democracy is under attack, to have people validating that kind of commentary to say that it is okay.
He's someone who's worked at the BNI. He's worked in these.
If he works there, then he's been abusing the rule when he was there. The point is that you cannot arrest anybody and say that you don't owe anybody explanation. That person has a right. I'm coming. You have a right. You are a free soul. You see, arrest is a control mechanism. It's a regulating mechanism for the state to control, to administer justice, to ensure that there is security. Okay, so when you are seized, it's a critical matter. Otherwise, you should be a free being in a democracy. You should be free. You understand? So you can't go and vote for a government and somebody come and stay on TV and say that you have gone to give your rights to somebody to exercise for collective good, and the person is abusing it to arrest you, and they don't have any explanation why you abuse. If he was arrested and he hears somebody make that commentary on TV, will he be proud of the person? That's completely unacceptable. And if it is part of the NDC effort to have people come and validate this thing by saying BNI don't have any explanation, it is reckless. It is nauseous. It's not acceptable.
He spoke as a security expert.
We know what happens.
We'll raise him again.
We know what happens. People are moving in the back to try and straighten this thing. It's bad. In a democracy, I don't understand why the NDC behaves in this manner.
That's what I'm saying, that he's not speaking on behalf of the NDC.
Well, who else can be speaking like this?
As a security expert. So
and security expert to say that democracy doesn't matter?
To the NDC. But Council Jimega is here. Let me just go to him so he can also speak on this matter. And when we're able to raise Mr. Richard on the phone,
it's my name too.
I know, right? He'll be able to explain this further. But Council, I mean, it's been, Saturday night up until this point, over 24 hours. Okay, hold on. Let me just speak to Mr. Richard Kumado quickly. Mr. Richard Kumado, good morning again.
Thank you, Bella.
All right. I don't know if you heard the latter part of our conversation, but you know, earlier we spoke to you on the This Morning segment, and you mentioned that based on the modus operandi of, you know, these security institutions, BNI, IOCO, etc., they don't necessarily have to respond or give updates to the political parties when they pick up someone based on investigations, etc. And that if they need to know where their client is or they need to, you know, go through the process, they should go to court. Can you expatiate on this? Because Mr. Richard Ahiagba is here and he says that that statement that you made was reckless.
No, why would Richard Ahiagba said I made a reckless? He could have used a better word than say reckless. Knowing who he is, forget about him. We all know who he is. But
Okay.
let me give for purposes of public education. For purposes of public education, I'm saying that if Richard Commando is picked up today by Yoko or by BNI or the police, they will not speak to political parties. They will inform my family, they will inform my lawyer the reason why I have been picked and where I am being kept. They will even inform me at the point of the arrest, or when I get to my destination, they will tell you this is why you have been arrested. Because normally you might be arrested for a particular issue, but there are other issues for which they want you to answer for. And they will prefer to speak to your lawyer because we are in a democracy where rule of law is the name of the game and evidence is the name of the game. So I'm saying that all this issue about NDC, NPP coming into the public space to say that their person has been arrested and they don't know where the person are, it is not right, and let's stop it. If it is for political expediency, fine. But if we are talking about serious stuff and we are talking about public education and we are educating the general public, the Yoko, you know, the BNI, the police will not arrest anybody, and they will not allow their lawyers or their families or they themselves to be in the known for which they have been arrested. So that was the point I was making.
Okay, all right. Mr. Richard Ahiagba, I guess you get the explanation now?
Yeah, you know, the disdain with which he's talking is fine. I won't indulge that. He's a superhuman being, so that we allow him to feel super. But the point is that everything he said now has not happened. His lawyers have not been informed. So if he doesn't know, he should learn that one, that his lawyers have not been informed.
But
So please, I don't want you to interfere. But what I'm trying to say is that
Mr. Kumado, you hold on. I'll let you come in shortly, please.
His lawyers haven't had access to him. Okay, but he's saying that that ought to happen. It has not happened. And I'm saying that the general commentary out there, okay, I don't know what super intelligence he has for which he's disregarding and disrespecting people, but I take it from him that perhaps he's ignorant, okay, of who I am. But the point I'm trying to make is that what he's saying is a reckless statement to make in a democracy, that an institution in a democratic state can see somebody, and we are making a comment on national television to say that they don't have responsibility to the country. And then you're saying that a political party is part of the democratic infrastructure of our country. So it's not just MPP and you say it like that. It is part of the structure. So if we say it doesn't have a responsibility to anybody, it's a reckless statement to make. Anybody can generalize that to mean anything. That, oh, this even BNI doesn't have responsibility, so what about us? So you are degrading the quality of democracy you want to experience and build by making that commentary. If you think you have made a statement and it is seen not to be appropriate, you don't come and denigrate and say, as for that person, let's forget about it.
All right.
You clarify as you are done, but the truth of it is that what he expects to have happened hasn't happened.
Okay, all right. I need to bring Council Jim again, but Mr. Kumado, I'll bring you in shortly, say, and I'll give you enough time, I promise. But Mr. Kumado, Mr. Kumado, okay, just quickly on this matter, of course, you are saying that up until this point where his lawyer has not been spoken to or given access to him and his family may not be aware of it as well, that is wrong and that should have been corrected. I mean, he was picked up on Saturday night. It's been over 24 hours. By the end of today, we're getting into 48 hours. And yet his lawyer has not been able to speak to him. That is not the right modus operandi of Yoko, for example. You have worked with these institutions before.
No, but whatever Richard is saying has changed the whole dynamics of what we said or what I said.
and I don't know why he's making me his point of reference today. I don't know whichever anger he's carrying from, wherever he's carrying it from, but because it's Richard Ahiangba, I don't mind him. If I want to mind him, then I want to say that he should learn common sense sometimes.
Okay, Mr. Kumado, please. Mr. Kumado, please. Mr. Kumado. Mr. Kumado.
So we will not take anything from somebody like Richard Ahiangba who has no credibility. You don't come on there and attack me because I express an opinion.
We can express ourselves without the disrespect, Mr. Kumado.
Of NDC and NPP. I'm a serious person. I have done serious things in this country. So learn it properly. And this should be your last warning.
Mr. Kumado,
when it comes to
Mr. Kumado, you have to retract that statement.
Because I wasn't talking to you.
Mr. Kumado.
I wasn't talking against your political party. I was asked specific
Mr. Kumado.
questions and I provide an answer. So
Mr.
let
Kumado.
it sink into your brain.
Please, out of respect, at least for the rest of us on this platform as well, I would ask that you retract that statement you made earlier, because this is just a platform to discuss matters. We don't need to disrespect each other in the process. It's a question I asked him based on the statement you made earlier.
Yes, I don't have in my spirit to disrespect people.
So please, out of respect.
And he make me a point of reference, and he want to come after my person in the manner he did, as if he has an issue against me. This NDC you have done for all these years, what did you gain from it? And what does it make of you? And what have you become? That people cannot speak as professionals and express a professional opinion on issue, which I have done for all these years.
Mr. Kumado.
When your was in power,
all right.
Come on, some of you, it's better we don't respond
Thank
to
you.
what you say because
Thank you, Mr. Kumado. Will you retract it or not? I guess not. Well, thank you very much for speaking, and I apologize across the board if both of you feel disrespected with statements that have been made, either from Mr. Richard Ahiangba to Mr. Kumado or to Mr. Kumado to you. I apologize on our TV. But I'll give you the chance, but you've spoken for too long. Let me bring counsel in. Counsel, over 24 hours, we still have not received word from Iyoko. We don't even know why he's been arrested.
Good morning to your viewers wherever they are. I don't know why you left it at 24 hours. But
I said over.
Yes, I don't know why you left it at 24 hours again. I'll come back to that.
Okay.
But with what we have seen between the two Richards this morning, it is just fair to admit that the arrest and detention of Miracles has generated a lot of public commentary and public interest. However, the arresting agency is Iyoko. Iyoko has not released any statement. But I want to assure you that there is one thing I picked from Richard, the other one on phone statement, which I would like to say here is that anybody arrested must have his or her dignity protected. And one way of protecting the dignity is to retain some of the information about the reason why the person is arrested. So you don't go throwing that information all about when sometimes it's just on facts that you are arresting, not something that is proven yet in court. So sometimes it's good to retain some of that information so you don't share it. Number two, I want to say that we have been in this country where we have watched marches being done to Iyoko premises. And in the end, the persons for which the party has marched there is negotiating something else based on the reason why the party has marched there. So is it not too early for this march to be organized today that we want to go to Iyoko and demand his release? By the way, the reason I said 24 is that the Constitution says 48 hours.
Yes. To be arranged
before court or released. So that is why I was wondering if you are going between 48 and 24.
So my question is more about
the release of statements.
Yes.
Yes.
Like details as to why he's
That is why I'm saying
arrested.
that, yes, it is just Monday morning. It is by my watch. If I'm, okay, it's just 8:05. Let's give Iyoko a further an hour or two. I believe that Raymond Nacha knows exactly what he's doing. And for all these days, he has been on top of issues. So I don't think that is an issue yet to be debated. Number two, I find it wild to say that because Miracles has declared his intention to contest Director of Communications, that's the reason why he's been arrested, or for the fact that he's a serious critic That's why he's being arrested. Oh, Richard, my brother here. So you are also a candidate to be arrested because you're also a critic of the government? No. Nobody goes to arrest. What is the reason for going to arrest somebody because they have declared to become director of communication? In one breath, Richard here tells us that they don't know the reason why he's arrested. In the other breath, he says that he's being arrested. You ask him specifically, so you have concluded that he's being arrested because he is a critic of the government. I mean, the government that has been more tolerant. Bro, when you were talking, even when you were talking, no, Mr. Yangba, no. When you were talking, even when Richard on the line wanted to interrupt you, you said no, don't interrupt. Let me flow. Now, you see, that's the reason why, that's the purpose. Now, so we on one hand, he also tells us that he's been arrested Saturday. He's not spoken to anybody. Then on the other hand, he tells us that they are weekending, so nobody has spoken to Miracles whilst in detention. Which one do we have to buy? But I want to stand on the fact that even persons who are currently standing trial and were arrested by EOCO, Edu Buahin, Wuntumi, and a few others, there was even a post by the current Deputy Attorney General who visited some to find out if they are being treated very well. So anybody upon the assumption of office of the current government that has been arrested has always been treated fairly and nicely. So the idea that you talk to your lawyer, I believe today, whatever will be, either EOCO will release him, EOCO will charge him, EOCO will send him to court, or EOCO will make all the other arrangements for him to be spoken to about this. Also the issue about he was coming in, why arrest him? That presupposes that you know when he should be arrested or at what situation he should be arrested. Assuming he was having breakfast or he has finished breakfast and was arrested, you would have said that he should have been waiting to have lunch. He will have lunch. Why do you arrest him? No, we don't know what the investigative body knows. We don't know whether the young man coming into the country, the next step will be to thwart some of the investigation. So let's allow EOCO. That is the investigating body that has arrested. I want to state it categorically here that this government has never used arrest as a form of intimidating persons. Indeed, some people feel that there are not enough arrests. It's all over there. You see it on social media every day. So for somebody to suggest either remotely or very far that the government is currently using arrest as intimidation. Why? Miracles has been allowed to say a lot of things. He's gone to Cocoa areas, he's gone to Galamsey areas. He was never arrested just for the fact that he has announced that he's going to contest. Indeed, until this morning, I thought Richard was going to contest. And I believe you knew too. You thought the same way too. That's why you asked the question. So I was going to say that if Richard was going to talk that way, then perhaps Richard will say, oh, they're using this, my opponent, and okay, keep him small so that I will campaign. Or if you don't keep him, so he gets so much publicity, he affects my campaign. But he told it, nobody is interested in whatever he becomes. Of course, that's is a government in waiting one day, so everybody would like to know what happens in your opponent's camp. But to say that Miracles' arrest is linked to the fact that he has declared to contest National Director of Communication for the New Patriotic Party, that is far-fetched. That cannot be the truth.
Well, he's given all these instances because he says there's no clear communication as to why he was arrested, which is why they are allowed, or they are given room to conjecture. Because if up until now the statement had come, then maybe that would have assuaged all fears as to exactly what could have been the reason. You see,
let's situate it in the context of the law. Has EOCO breached any operational procedures?
Have they?
Have they? No.
Okay.
They have not. I mean, the one we should be talking about. That is why I don't want you to limit yourself to 24 hours, lest you are writing a new clause in our constitution.
Okay.
Our constitution allows them to keep the person up to 48 hours, not to fall to the side of the sword between the two Richards. I will say that my understanding of the other Richard is that for the fact that you need to even give information must not necessarily mean it has to go to MPP or to NDC, but it can be given to Ghanaians. If I understand correctly, and not to fall on the sword of my brother Richard in the studio here, but suffice that to be, let's put that aside. The 48-hour limit, they are allowed to keep or detain you. Now, the only part that we don't know yet is that Was he told why he was arrested? I believe the guys would have told him. They wouldn't have just arrested him and bundled him and said that we are taking you away without telling you the reason for your arrest. They would have told him the reason for his arrest. So the idea that his dignity will be violated, his rights will be violated, are not there. And I want to appeal to my brothers. Yes, they have every right to demonstrate, to march, mount all the platforms, placards to say free miracles now. But at the end of the day, we saw it. All MPs went and sat in front of Ioko. Yeah. At the end of the day, if they want to trace the story back from where we are now, about that same story, to where they sat on the floor, a lot of them would have said, if we had known what we know today, we wouldn't have gone there. That is why I believe that let's allow Ioko. It's just 8 o'clock. In the next 1.5 hours or an hour, Ioko might be releasing statements.
All right. Let me bring Lawyer Pierre Dankwa in. I mean, with everything that's happening, what do you say?
Yeah, so well, let me wish yourself. Let me wish you yourself a good morning. I wish my brother here a good morning, and to say that I'm very happy in the UP, and hopefully he will come home. Like all the other MP people do come home to the original home, not the.
From UP we came to MP.
Not the familiar spirit infested UP as it stands now. So Richard, you
from UP we came to MP.
You come, your seat as what's called a vice chair will be secured. You don't have to. And then to my learned friend here, a good morning. Bill, my view here is, and I think I've been pretty consistent with that view, that we ought to be faithful, loyal, and show fidelity, and unconditional fidelity to our constitution and the tenets and principles that underpins those, that underpins our constitution. I think we all need to understand that the purpose for our constitution, essentially, one is to guarantee and secure for ourselves our rights to life, our rights to our liberties, and our rights to pursue our own happiness. And to achieve same, our constitution laid down certain principles and values that will aid us in achieving these. One of the fundamental values there, one was the value of respect for the rule of law, and two, amongst others, is a respect for the principle of probity and accountability. Now, when I call for a fidelity to the terms of our constitution, it is to say that we ought to respect all the values, not some of the values. And to this end, we ought to understand that our right to our liberties, as has been provided for in our constitution, is a right that has fetters. It's not a right that does not have fetters. It has fetters. So when you go to Article 14 of our constitution, and I recognize that MPP quoted Article 14 too, but I think that it is right that we read Article 14 in its entirety. And when you read Article 14 in its entirety, you quickly realize that our right to our liberties is a fettered right. Is a right that has fetters. Now it says that, so at least for the education of your viewers, that every person shall be entitled to his personal liberty, and no person shall be deprived of his personal liberty except. So now the fetters are coming, except in the following cases, in accordance with procedure permitted by law: one, in execution of a sentence or order of a court in respect of a criminal offense of which he has been convicted. It goes on and on. I think the bit that will interest us is upon reasonable suspicion of his having committed or being about to commit a criminal offense under the laws of Ghana. And then when you go to the two decoded, so a person who is arrested, restricted, or detained shall be informed immediately in a language that he understands of the reasons for his arrest, restriction or detention, and of his right to a lawyer of his choice. And I think it's important that we add the three. A person who is arrested, restricted, or detained for the purposes of bringing before a court in execution of an order of a court, or upon reasonable suspicion of his having committed or being about to commit a criminal offense under the laws of Ghana, and who is not released, shall be brought before a court within 48 hours after the arrest, restriction, or detention. So here, the key questions here are, one, has the laws, has the rules that governs this power given to the state, have they been respected? Because we are all calling for a proper fight, a real fight against corruption. We are calling for accountability. You understand? And here we are calling for total accountability. But that call or any step towards this ideal ought to be within the confines of the law. So we are asking for accountability, but that accountability has to be within the confines of the law in the terms of our constitution, the purpose of our constitution. So the question is, did the arresting agency in arresting Miracles Abuache behave in a manner that flouted any law? And here, I think the Constitution answers the questions clearly. That one, they have the power to arrest any of us if there's a reasonable suspicion that you have committed an offense. So they can arrest me if they reasonably believe that I've committed an offense or I'm about to commit an offense. So clearly, this right does not say that the arrest must be done in your home, the arrest must be done in church, the arrest must be done in the sports stadium. And so for me, it does not, or I do not see any breach of their powers, only because the arrest was done at the airport. I think that's the first point that has to be made. Now, secondly, the law says that when they are arresting you, they ought to tell you the person they are arresting. It does not say they have to inform your party. I think Richard Kumado even added his own. The Constitution here doesn't say they have to inform your family. It does not say that. So Ghana, we are very humane. So probably when they arrest or they are about to arrest, they call your family, oh, we are arresting your person. But what the Constitution is saying here, clearly, is saying that they have to tell you why they are arresting you. It did not add family. Of course, it did not add political.
And it doesn't add legal counsel?
All he's saying that after they have told you why they're arresting you, then they must also tell you of your rights. And the rights include they informing you that you have a right to your counsel. You understand? Now, have they done or did they do this? We do not know. But from the MPP's own statement, they are saying that they've heard that Miracles Abuache has been arrested, but they said they've not had a conversation with him. If I'm wrong, they said they have not had a conversation with Miracles Abuache. Now, what does this mean? It means that one, the MPP is not in the position to know whether or not he was informed about why he was arrested. They can't know. Two, the MPP cannot know whether they informed him about his rights, whether he had the right to his counsel or not. MPP is not in a position to know whether he's even spoken to his counsel. They can't know. Because from the terms of the release, they are telling us that they are making certain factual statements, you understand, which clearly from their own statement, they are not in a position to know.
But don't you think that if he had been given access to his counsel, the party that he represents would know?
How would they know? How would they know? Yeah. I get your question. It's a very good. But you see, I'm saying that we have to be faithful to our constitution. We have to be faithful to all the terms of our constitution, and because of the consequence of the citizens, the people, losing faith in the ability of this constitution to protect our rights or to fulfill its objects, this creates an added responsibility on us as Ghana, especially on political parties that are key political institutions in this architecture. Understand? To be careful about what they put out there. Yes, because conversation that suggests that our constitution is unable to protect us does not augur well for not just the constitution, but for the purpose of the constitution. Because for this constitution to work, you need the people to believe in the ability of the constitution to guarantee us our rights. You understand? Because is there a case that MPP does not believe in the principle of accountability or probity? You understand? Because when you issue a statement that demands for a release of anybody who has been arrested, when you understand, or you ought to understand that that person can be arrested on a reasonable suspicion of his having committed an offense. And when I listen to my brother Richard here, I understand that And Richard is very smart. I'm not saying he did that because he's here. He knows that. I respect him a lot. But Richard made a statement. That's what it is. Like he knows that a certain level of conversation has been going on between Yoko. I don't know whether he didn't mention Yoko. He didn't mention anybody. But within some investigative body and Miracle, except that he does not find expedience to. And I agree with him. He does not need to come here and then disclose. But if the party is aware that there is some level of conversation going on between some investigative body and then you should not be quick to issue a statement which may cause us to question your fidelity to our constitution. Because when they were in power, they behaved in so many ways that for me proved to me that they were not loyal to our constitution. I can mention the Charlotte say what's called issue. I can mention the fight against Galamsey, where special prosecutor went after Professor Frimpong Boateng when he had brought a report that essentially was supposed to help us. I can talk about how the president appointed people who had political coloring onto the EC. I can mention so many other arrests and detentions, which essentially were illegal. And then when they were in opposition, how they were quick to go and demonstrate when Chema to me was arrested. And they did that demonstration before a breach of that 48 hours. The demonstration was not before the after 48 hours. But having said that, there's also a principle that says that justice must not only be done, it must manifestly be seen to be done. And so then we ought to understand that where an arrest involves a politically exposed person, that even though the terms of the Constitution may not have expressly said that you ought to inform the political party, but then there is an obligation, in my opinion, to let the citizens know exactly what is happening. Because there's a very thin line between political persecution and prosecution. A very thin line. And there's an obligation on the state to drive a narrative which will not cause the citizens to believe that what is happening is a political persecution. Indeed, I mentioned here that I have issues with those huge bill terms that are placed on these politically exposed persons, when, like in the Chema case. Because mind you, the police, where the police itself gave a police inquiry bill and placed such a huge bill sum. For me, it was a fundamental breach of his rights. Yes, because when you place a bill condition which is so onerous that the person will not be able to fulfill it. You understand? You understand? For me, it does not answer the burden on you not to keep the person beyond 48 hours. Also, this is not the first time this allegation is being made, that people have been arrested and they have not had access to their lawyers. You understand? Quickly, if that is not the case, then there's also an obligation on the state to tell us that, listen, these allegations that are being made are not truthful. And in that he's had access to his counsel, and we fulfilled every right that is available to him under the terms.
So you expect that communication should have been made by now?
Yeah, because he's a politically exposed person, so this is a matter of interest to the people of Ghana. And that's why sometimes I say the MPP are very inconsistent. Because, you know, Professor Yine, the AG, introduced something which I was very surprised that he was being criticized. He introduced a system, whether he or not, but I don't recall the AG doing that. If somebody had done that, I stand to be corrected, of informing the people about steps that, or about cases, or about investigations. And then people were up in arms against him. You understand? Now, this time they've kept quiet. And yeah, okay, let me be very restrained because my brother pay advice. It's still about 8-something in the morning. And then when no statement has come out, the same MPP are up in arms saying that, listen, you ought to tell us. So what's your position? Yeah, understand? So for me, I think that we should all of us should exercise a little bit restraint.
Okay.
This news, I heard it. I heard it after I was saying the topic that I didn't even know that.
Oh, you didn't know?
I didn't know that. Yeah, you understand. We are still early in the morning. I think that the statement that MPP made is not, in my humble opinion, is not genuine. And am I allowed to use the word reckless?
Yeah, if you think it is, yeah.
Okay, I'm go as far as saying it's reckless. It's reckless. I'll say it's careless.
Oh.
You understand? And
what's the degree of difference?
No, reckless is more serious. You saw how Richard was one.
I think careless is worse.
You understand? All of us have a fidelity to our constitution and the levels of our constitution. Let us behave. What's called a spirit. Let us exhibit a culture. Let us act in a manner that always shows our loyalty to our constitution and the terms of our constitution, even at the expense of our parochial interests and our party's agenda.
All right, Mr. Richard Ahiagba.
So Bella, anybody can insult. So I won't engage Richard.
But do you also agree that you may have made statements that also angered him by referring to statements as reckless?
What statement? We're not here to cater to people's emotions. And I didn't make any statement targeting him. You brought him into a conversation. I said the statement he made is reckless. If you make a reckless statement, ought to be said. You cannot tell me the whole labor of civil rights is aimed at expanding rights in a democracy. People died for that. People labored so rights in democracy can't be protected. My brother is a lawyer. He's talking about a law. There is a dance between democracy and law. That's democracy being politics and people wanting freedom. The law restrains it, but the continuous labor of civil rights is to expand the rights of people, because really what you are doing is to build a society, and that society must be comfortable with what you are building. So law is there to be, to be expanded. The rights of people must be expanded by pushing the boundaries of the law. So if there is a law that goes against the freedom and rights of the people in a democracy, that's why you can amend laws. Oh, you understand? So the law is not static. Politics causes the law to be amended. So when we have a situation which is critical, that goes to the heart of what we are building in a democracy, whereupon the people will become unhappy because they are being excessively restrained and regulated, then there must be a constructive conversation about that. So civil rights is politics and is democracy. So when we are having that conversation, and somebody who says that he's a security person and doesn't understand the labor and pain of people to try and expand the rights of people, should not just assume that what he knows is superior.
He's worked with these institutions.
He's worked with that institution. That institution, I'm coming. I don't dispute that. But I'm saying that to say they don't owe in a democracy any explanation is reckless, especially when in the circumstance there has been no communication whatsoever.
But
you get the point I'm making.
I get you, but council here has also read the Constitution to us.
I agree.
And in that Constitution, it does not even extend to even family.
But
it says clearly that it is just to him.
But I'm saying
that
to him,
and that's it.
To him, part of his Miranda rights extend that he's given access to his lawyers. When his lawyers learn, they will tell the party. They'll tell his family. Right now, he's not been. I'm coming. What is the information? The thing is not about informing. It's about knowing what has happened. Right? We don't know anything. So if you say that when exactly we don't know anything, and you say they don't have responsibility, you are saying so inclusive of even the opportunity of a lawyer to know.
No, but he clearly said.
I'm saying that. I'm just saying.
We heard Mr. Kumado, and he said that first of all, you need to be told your rights if you're arrested. Then your family. And then legal counsel. That's what he said. And even counsel was saying that per the Constitution, it doesn't even extend to family and then legal rights. Eventually, you.
So what's the point,
that you have access to
right now?
Rights. I'm just asking those questions.
I'm coming. Yeah, the point. Whatever you're asking, I've already told you. I'm saying that right now we don't know anything.
Okay.
Either his lawyers learning and telling us, or telling his family. We don't know. We don't know. And I'm saying that you want to err on the side of caution. When you're building a democracy, you establish norms that enhances your democracy. Okay, so if ordinarily that is the requirement or the modus operandi of BNI and EOCO, is it acceptable that in a democracy you see somebody and it is the norm that we accept that our institutions cannot be answerable in a democracy to the people? When you make that blanket statement, you create a certain appearance of this. Is this a democracy or not? That's the conversation I'm coming from. My brother is a lawyer, okay? I am a student of democracy. Okay, that's my research, that's my study. And so in a democracy, you must engage in a conversation of expanding rights. So if that limitation is there, we shouldn't entrench it. We should have a conversation that says that if that is there, it's not good enough. Especially because of that, since he was arrested from Saturday, his lawyers have not seen him. And then we have been told that they are ordinarily not responsible to the state, so it's okay that we don't know anything.
He didn't say it's okay.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that. Okay. Oh, Bella, I beg you.
No.
What he has said, well, I'm analyzing from the import. And so if somebody sits at home and hears what he has said, what will be the person's conclusion? Not what he has said, it's how the person is going to digest it. What is the implication of that? The implication is that it is okay that they don't. And I'm asking you, is that okay in a democracy that we say that you can be seized? You can be seized and it's okay. Look, this thing we are talking about, if it hasn't happened to you, you think it's fine. But incommunicado, from Saturday till now, you don't know any conversation. I've told you earlier that we are essentially free souls. Okay? We're all free souls. So when your right is curtailed, what we are talking about here, excuse me to make this extreme parallel, but if His Excellency the President himself is detained right now, it doesn't matter all the power he has. You feel restless. Because that's who you are. You're supposed to be a free soul. So to restrain somebody's rights, it's not child's play. It's not something I just come to radio and then just say anything I want about it. My brother made references to when we were in power and all that stuff. If yesterday was wrong, if any wrongs were done yesterday, are we to entrench it today? And I like where you ended to say that the state must fill the vacuum that is created by lack of information. Opens the window to all sorts of guesstimations. That's the point we're making. And my brother, why I wanted to interrupt you when you were speaking was that I didn't say that he was arrested for purposes of criticizing the government. But I'm saying that a vacuum is left. Why do you leave that vacuum? If you leave that vacuum, naturally we'll make assumptions. And I told you of a pattern that existed. Okay. Even as we speak now, my phone just went off, but a list of some names have been sent to me about individuals who criticize the government on TikTok or X, and they've been abused by police people. An individual, like one Camila or Alassane or so, arrested also just because he's criticized the government. A list of people, you are aware of people who are just being arrested for saying things. Yes, you disagree with what they have said, but in a democracy, if you do that, it extends to other things. And we're saying that let this be a democracy that grows.
If you make a statement, for example, that the president should be killed, excuse me for using that, you expect that what? The government will not react to that? You expect that the security agencies will sit down and allow such a statement to go?
Bella,
and not arrest the person?
Bella, so if all of us in unison decides to make that same comment, can they arrest all of us?
Richard, if you're
saying... I'm not arguing with you. I'm just saying that I don't agree with the statement.
Okay.
But in a democracy, you must find a way of dealing with those things.
How
when you
else
create,
do you
I'm coming. That's a responsibility that you have. But to use the default control mechanism, which is to use security agencies to weaponize them, it is not good for democracy. I'm telling you that, well, unless we agree that today is convenient, so let's have that conversation, but because definitely tomorrow, it will happen. Because what happened yesterday will be used for justification for today's actions. And so what is happening, you can rest assured that there are some elements, okay, who would say that we shall see tomorrow. And in my view, as a student of democracy, where I think that we should make democracy the norm of our country. So we should make it comfortable and enjoyable for citizens, such that we prefer that any day. You remember what happened in Guinea-Conakry? where there was a coup d'etat, is it Condé, when he was removed. His efforts to extend his rule or to run for a third term was reprehensible, but when it happened, the people, when his coup d'etat happened, the people went to the street to celebrate, okay, a coup d'etat. What does that tell you? It tells you that the citizens were tired of a certain brand of democracy.
What are you referring to?
I'm referring to you that...
What are you saying?
I'm saying that citizens, when they are pushed to a certain limit, what is not preferred, they would appreciate because they feel there's a reprieve. And so what we should be doing is to make democracy attractive, that under any material time, if you present a Ghanaian with an option, he will choose democracy over anything. So the effort for us is to try and expand rights and make it so that the people feel that the government of the people, for the people, by the people, shall not perish.
Okay.
That's the conversation. So something as simple as inviting Miracles, which he's been available. You go to the extent of seizing him, create all this storm. To what end?
Who is creating the storm?
The storm we have created is that there's a storm Bella. The storm is that this man has been available to you. You can get him at any material time. He's not leaving the country. He's coming back to the country.
But you don't determine when the security agency should do that.
I don't determine it. But you see, there is a democratic norm we are building. There is a precedent to interacting with this individual. He's always been available. You see, when we begin to talk about this, wait.
At that point where he was arrested, that was when they had decided to impair their modus operandi. That was the right time to do so. You are saying what? It shouldn't have happened at that time? When should it have happened?
I don't know how I can make this example and not sound crude on the morning. But you see, if somebody seizes you right now in the studio, they can wait for the program to finish, okay, to seize you for whatever reason. But they just barge in here and seizes you. If you say that we cannot ask under circumstances of proportionality and say that, but Bella is here, his contained is here, he's going to come out from here, so why rush on the
So you think that what?
I'm saying that we are not determining us and when they should arrest anybody. Nobody is saying that they should do that. You can do so, but the point is that the urgency, proportionality. Has this man been evading you? Has he been avoiding invitations? Is he attending upon your invitations or not? And the answer is yes, he is. He's available. He's not going anywhere. He's coming to this country.
But
so
you
can
don't
get
even
him.
know if he was invited formally. You don't have those details.
That one.
Whether he was formally invited in the past or not, we don't have all those details. Per what you have said earlier.
Bella.
Richard.
You just told me that you are aware of some invitations and stuff.
No, I never said that on this platform. You
are
are the one who
no
said
problem.
that.
No
Yes.
problem. No problem. I'm just
I never
saying
said
that.
that.
I'm just no problem. So I'm saying that under any circumstance at all, the man is not leaving the country. He has come to the country. And I'm giving you information that you've invited him before. He is available for invitation. He was leaving this country. You let him go, and he has come back. It is upon his return that you are seizing him at the airport. On a Saturday when you are not going to talk to him. That's the point my brother was making, that I said that he was seized, that nobody talked to him. He was seized on Saturday, put away. There is no official engagement in terms of investigation that, oh, this and this and that and that. He just went and put away. In fact, what we know is that the immigration officers seized him and handed him over to the EOCO the following day, right? And so
You're saying what? He was picked up?
the immigration people kept him. He was in their custody and then given to EOCO. That's the information we have. And I'm saying that all of that, what are you really doing with him at that time?
So,
whereupon, because of who he is, okay, he's not a flight risk because he's in the country. You've been talking to him, and so he has come. So what warrants?
Okay.
What warrants that storm that you have created this morning that we're trying to understand? Because one, we don't have information.
You said that already.
Yes.
Understandable.
I mean, it's important to make the point.
Stated, but
I'm coming.
Let me quickly ask,
If you have created a storm, I'm coming.
Speaking
Let
for
me just
quite a
conclude.
while.
You just keep saying I've been speaking for quite a while.
You have, to be fair. You have. So let me also...
So you won't let me conclude.
No, you are going to repeat something you've said already.
No, but there's a point I'm making.
Please,
but the point I am making is that I said they've created a storm. I haven't explained. You asked what storm. Why I say it's a storm is that one, this is a person who's been available to you. And it will be. I'm coming.
Yourself all over again, Richard. So allow Council Jemega to come in.
Let me just make the point. I beg you. Is that okay? I drove this morning through traffic to come here.
Please carry
so if I come here, you as if I shouldn't
30
talk.
Seconds,
then why did I
so
come?
Council can come.
I'm beginning to not like what you keep saying.
All the time is running out. You land.
Okay, you just carry on. If you don't want me to come here, just let me know. So
I allowed you to, but now you don't seem to want to.
The point I'm making is that there's a storm they have created. And why I call it a storm is that this is a man who has come back to the country. This is a man that you are able to see. So what makes you want to seize him at that point and create a situation where we all don't know what is happening? You haven't spoken to his lawyer, okay? At this point, there is all this back and forth because you have decided to seize a man who you can easily have access to.
Okay.
That storm, we don't need it.
All right.
Well, it's a bit unfortunate. Perhaps we don't share, the two of us don't share premises with TV3. We also drove in the traffic to come here. So for him to
you have been allowed to speak,
no,
so
for
I am
him,
not.
For him to allow to say that he drove here, and I mean, for crying out loud, I don't share premises with you. We all drove here in the traffic, and I urge you that as a student of timekeeping, please keep the time properly, so that we all share the time.
Yes.
Yes. I mean, let me pick one or two things. We've just been told right now that he was picked by immigration and transferred to Ioko. Yet this same group said they have no information about the arrest and everything. Come on, what are we doing to ourselves? He said something very nice, that in Guinea, when there was a coup d'etat, the people went into the street and demonstrated. It happened in 2024 in Ghana.
There was no coup d'etat here.
No, I mean, when there was change of government, people went into the street and demonstrated and were happy because they were tired. Let me, I don't want us to equalize, but you see, we cannot move forward if we don't know where we are coming from. Victor Salome was arrested at KIA at the airport when he returned to Ghana. The Venerable Senior Chachu Chikata was arrested at KIA. They tried to arrest him at church. What are we talking about today? As if for the first time somebody was picked at the airport and all hell has broken loose because, as we will say when we were young, because of why? What's the rationale? Then he goes on to say that he's been visiting them or they've been inviting him, whichever. I don't know which way now, but they didn't prevent him from leaving. Now he's coming back. They don't have any justification to prevent him from leaving. He's allowed to move freely. But what we are saying is that at this stage, despite the absence of information, they are able to make deductions to say it is because of A, because of B, because of C. No, we can't be fair to Ioko. All we are relying on, and I love the way Senior put it, all we are relying on is that let us allow Ioko, at least if there is a 48-hour deadline has passed and Ioko has not come up with any statement, then we will be able to say that, hey, you have breached the guy's right. Now, they could have even gone to court today and filed for habeas corpus to say that, really bring our guy here for us to know where he is. Now, you see, counsel also reads something that you are allowed to a lawyer of your choice. Now, here we are. We are talking about the fact that nobody knows what has been told Miracles. It doesn't mean that Miracles will always say that this man, or yourself, you are my lawyer, constant. So whenever it is, I am supposed to speak to you. Number two, he might have spoken, let's also, you see, if we want to dive into the congestion zone, he might have spoken to a lawyer who says that, I'm not going to release any information to you. We don't know any of these things. So the idea of saying that it is a pattern, it has never been any pattern. Indeed, I can hit my chest to say that this government has been one of the most accommodating governments we have ever seen, which Attorney General has ever visited people in detention to find out if you are being treated fairly. Now, he goes on to talk about Camilla something. Yes, I've also seen it on social media. Is it the fact that people misbehave and we say by virtue of the fact that they are talking for a particular government, we should allow misbehavior to continue? And even when they offend the law that was passed under your regime, we should just say that by virtue of the fact that they belong to our political party, we should allow them to continue along that line. No, then what type of democracy are we building? Now, let's come back to talk about the frontiers of law and democracy that he say we should expand. We cannot expand democracy and its frontiers at the whims and caprices of one person. It doesn't happen in anywhere. There has to be an ill that has to be cured for us to all look at it and say, for this particular one, we need to cure it. And I'll credit my senior Saturday when he says that man by its nature is chaotic. That is why there are laws and we give ourselves to people to manage. And if we give ourselves to people to manage, and IOCO is the state institution that is investigating, if I'll pick a leaf from his book, that they have been inviting him, whether IOCO, whether BNI, whether police, we don't know. But if you are being invited, perhaps they have reached the point where they have made a decision that this is the time to arrest. Yeah. Perhaps if you were in the country before, they would have been arrested, not waiting for it. So in order for us to say that we have reached that point, now he's coming today, let us arrest him. Perhaps there might be surveillance and they've realized that the guy is not in the country. So the only way we can pick him is when that is why immigration is alerted. We don't know any of these things. But for us to suggest that by virtue of the fact that he was picked at the airport and that all hell must break loose, that is neither here nor there. It happens everywhere. So let us allow IOCO. Let us all give them the support that they need to execute their job and get the thing done. And let us look at their history. And let us look at the history of the persons being detained and what they've done to the persons. Nobody under this current government has gone to IOCO and had come back to tell us that IOCO has maltreated. Nobody, even the guy who does the Good Evening Ghana on Metro TV. Paul, when he came back from detention, he only had good stories to talk about them. So let us not pretend, or let us not assume that because it is miracles, things will be done worse or bad for miracle. No, the same standard will be applied. Again, I will only urge IOCO, and I believe strongly. I know Raymond is a media person. He will allow this to fester for long and allow this cloud of uncertainty to hang over all of us forever. No, Raymond Nacha will do the needful. So let's allow them to do the needful. And where there is the good thing, people must not misbehave, and we say that because they are politically exposed persons, they should be allowed to just move anyhow because they are politically exposed. No, that cannot be the situation. So I believe that by lunchtime, you read a statement from IOCO detailing who has been picked, who is not being picked. Again, when Dr. Ayene started the series of informing us, as you said, people were all over the place. He's prosecuting them in public. He's prosecuting them in social media outlets. Now, information has not been given. There again, you are saying that information has not been given. They will find a balance between it. By the way, the oral is still continuing. There are trials today.
The trials today, okay.
Yeah.
Well, good morning to Mr. Bright Nana. For good to know that you're watching, and of course, giving some details as well with regards to this name that you mentioned. And I asked that question. Now, the lady says the president defiled children, that his brother sells cocaine, allegedly, he stole cars from the UK, and many others. These are not criticisms. So he's saying that if you make a statement like this, and you say that you want to decide how the security agencies should handle such situations, then that's also worrying. But why won't the NPP go to court to ask that miracles be brought instead of this long statement, which is politically induced? And that's what he said. A habeas corpus is what could have at least rested this matter. But that has not been done, and yet the NPP has released a statement. But counsel, please come in.
Yeah, okay.
I'm referring to you.
Okay. So I must say here that I agree with my brother Richard when he says that the frontiers of democracy must be expanded. I agree 100% with it. And the question is, how do you do it? Now, we expand this by deliberately creating the right political culture. And now, a political culture, first of all, that will tolerate diverse views, and to a political culture that will hold political leadership accountable. Now, in doing this, one of the critical political institutions that is responsible to do this is the political parties, our political parties. Unfortunately, over the past 10 years, I do not think the NPP has exhibited a desire to create this political culture that will tolerate diverse views. One, see, when we were in the NPP, some of us criticized the party for not granting us a platform to share views which were diverse from let's say, the government that the party sponsored. You understand? Two, you see that fundamental lack of commitment in this letter that and I'm damn sure that if this statement had come from my brother, the director of communications, I'm surprised it did not come from him. I don't think he would have said some of the things that was.
Like what exactly?
I'm saying you are making a statement. First of all, a member of your party has been arrested on matters that borders on accountability. And we want to create a culture that will hold political leadership accountable. Two, in your statement, you are saying that there's some that you don't know anything, essentially. Two. And yet you write a statement that is calling for his release. When it is the collective duty of all Ghanaians, indeed, it was the desire of all Ghanaians when we took upon ourselves the 1992 Constitution, that one of the abiding principles that should underpin this Constitution is the principle of probity and accountability. You understand? And you form a political party because of this Constitution. And the focus of that political party is to aid in that our collective agenda as a people. And one of the abiding principles is probity and accountability. And where somebody who, by reason of he being a member of your party, is arrested legally, not illegally, legally arrested. You understand? And then you issue a statement that, for me, is driving a dagger at the heart of this collective agenda. Two, you make a statement that says that we are not aware of anything that is happening. And in spite of that, you go ahead and make spurious speculations, you understand, that undermines the tenets of what's called of our Constitution. And the only reason why I agree with you once again when you said the fact that mistakes were made in the past cannot justify mistakes that are made. I agree. But the only reason why I brought up issues in the past, you understand, and I linked it with this statement was the inconsistency, you understand, and the fundamental lack of respect for principle and value in how they handled power in the past, and what this statement essentially was called reflects. But you see, in a desire to expand the frontiers of our democracy, then we also need to consider certain key provisions in our Constitution that deals with how people use their power. So when you read Article 23, it says that people who have administrative authority must use those power fairly and must not be capricious and it must be reasonable. I don't know if that's the argument my brother Richard wants to make, that in how they handled that power, in his opinion, per the tenets of, or per the requirements of Article 23, that power was not used fairly. If that's the point he wants to make, we can have a very nice discussion about that. Indeed, I'm sure if he was the one writing the statement, he would have made that argument. If the MPP felt that probably in the way the arrest was done, it was not done fairly, it was capricious, we could have, this does not mean that I would have agreed with that assertion. But you see, when you are making statements that borders on the desire to expand the frontiers of our democracy, then we must see a genuine desire to create that right political culture that one will allow for us to disagree and will hold political leadership accountable, because that's the only way in which you can sustain democracy. You cannot sustain democracy unless you create that right political culture, and that must be a desire. And when we talk about expanding the frontiers of democracy, for me, that's how I understand it. So I just want to reiterate my point. Where we are right now, let us be restrained. Let's just wait. Let's believe. Let's trust in the institutions we've created to aid us in achieving the purpose of our Constitution. From where I sit, and with the information available to me, I do not have any evidence to suggest that the arrest was illegal, that the arrest constituted an unfair use of administrative powers. I do not see any act of capriciousness. And we want to understand that the arresting institutions in this country have the power to decide, to choose where they want to arrest anybody that they reasonably suspect to having committed a crime. And in the spirit of expanding our frontiers, let us deliberately, as the people, obviously led by governments and by all political institutions, particularly the political parties, to create the right political culture that will tolerate diverse views and that will hold political leadership accountable. Because that is the only way, in fact, that is the only way, in my opinion, that can sustain this democracy. And when you understand the purpose of our democracy, which is one, to protect our lives, to protect our liberties, and to protect our fundamental right to pursue our own happiness, then you understand that this is a burden on us that we cannot run away or should not run away from.
All right. Well, quick question from Said Mohammed. He says that massing up at the Yoko premises, that's not what's going to make them release Dennis until he is questioned. And so I only have 3 minutes left. I'll probably give everyone a minute. But Richard, what's the whole idea behind marching to Yoko this morning? What do you seek to achieve?
I won't engage that much, but let me.
You won't engage that
question?
question?
No, because I have something else. Because soon enough you tell me my time is up.
But I'm asking you a question. You want to talk about something else?
Yeah. Well, it's part of the issue. I'm saying, just to respond to a few things.
So you won't answer the question I'm asking you? What do you intend to achieve? I mean, people want to know. If your party members are watching now and you're asking them to march to Yoko, they need to understand why you want to march.
Is your commentary part of my minute? Because now I'm very sensitive. Because the minute I begin to say that, then you say you are done. You see?
You could have just answered.
No, I'll come to that. But I'm just saying that the whole thing that we're talking about, you hear it in my brother's statement. And you hear it in my brother's statement here on as to whether this thing is necessary. The controversy is avoidable. Ioko should issue a statement, get this thing over with. Miracles could have gone home Saturday, Sunday, this morning. They would have invited him, he'll go there, and then whatever they want to do, they would have done it. Everybody will know this is neat. You have the power to arrest whenever you want, but you do it in a certain way, and it creates a certain appearance. Perception is key. In politics, perception is key. What they have done is to create a certain sense, which is now something that we're all trying to diagnose. So for me, it's a difficulty. Now, you also made a point about somebody says president should be killed and all of that stuff. I totally am opposed to that. It's not acceptable communication, and so therefore nobody should say that. It's not part of a democratic discourse that adds value to anything, and so nobody should say that. It doesn't win MPP power, doesn't win MPP any favors. So nobody should be saying that kind of thing, okay? Besides, we shouldn't wish death upon anybody, not even your worst enemy. So that point is clear.
Okay.
But comments such as that were made in the past. If we were to arrest everybody who makes that, we won't have time to prosecute the agenda of this country, which is to develop and improve the lots of the people. Okay. So when government has situations like that, they need to exercise discretion in dealing with it, lest they create the impression and create a pattern of silencing opposition and dissent. And that's really the heart of the matter that I think we should get. That arresting Miracles the way they have done adds to the perception that this government is just interested in silencing and opposing anyone or arresting anyone who opposes the government.
So that's why the other question you still won't respond to.
I mean, it's democracy.
What do you intend to achieve?
It's democracy. And so democracy allows us that tool. And if it ought to be exercised, let's exercise and let the government know we are not happy about how it's going about things.
Mrs. Maria.
What do they want to achieve?
Well, yes, I asked him and he says that it's democracy and so they should be allowed to exercise their rights.
It will come to naught. You've seen even MPs, old men, old women, went and sat on the floor. In the end, the person is now negotiating a plea deal, a plea bargain. I mean, it will come to naught. Nothing will come out of walking to Ioko this morning. I only pray that the showers will be gentle on them so that they will not be beaten too wet by the showers. And permit me to say a good morning to ASP Winsori, Deputy Crime Officer Tema, and my AD camp, Natty Boy. Thank you. Yes, but this march this morning, let's due process. This is the party that believes in the rule of law. Allow the rule of law to work. Simple.
Allow the rule of law to work. Yeah. Council, you have anything to say before I wrap up?
We are going to demonstrate.
Says they're right.
Of course.
Yes.
Of course, and I agree. We should allow them to demonstrate. But you see, the word is demonstrate. So you're going to demonstrate something. So what are they going to demonstrate? They're going to demonstrate to Ghanaians their real character. They're going to demonstrate to Ghanaians their real spirit. They're going to demonstrate to Ghanaians their real values. And that value is anti-Ghana. That value is against the principles and values of this country. I'm telling you, that you have a constitution that says that there's principle of probity and accountability. You understand? And somebody has been arrested on the suspicion. Yeah, you understand? And you've written this letter. And beyond this letter, yes, they're going to demonstrate. So let's allow them to demonstrate. But Ghanaians should open their eyes and take note that this is a party that does not have the interest of Ghana at heart.
Okay. Well, Anyam Minister says, Richard, you don't determine when Yoko should do their work. That's what he says. Okay. He supported it earlier and mentioned, okay, I'll skip that as well. Neodig Niatukwe says, politicians should allow the constitution to work. No one is above the law. Okay, everyone seems to be singing the same tune. On that note, I'll just wrap up here as well. But thank you all so much for joining me in the studio. And so, Richard, I believe you are marching to Yoko from here?
I have other engagements.
Oh, so you are not going to be there. Okay, all right. Richard Ahiagba is the Director of Communications for the NPP. Andrea Piat Dankwa is the Director of Legal Affairs for the United Party. And Theophilus Jimega is a private legal practitioner, an NDC National Communications team member. And earlier we spoke to Mr. Richard Kumado, who's a security expert. And if anyone is upset about how it went earlier, we apologize. I apologize as well for how it went, but please do not take it personal. But let me also mention that Big Issue is sponsored by the University of Gold Coast. And so if you're looking to get a course, or you are aiming for a specialist MBA in marketing, communication, operations, supply chain, human resource management, finance, entrepreneurship, innovation, or business intelligence analytics, or you want to advance to a dual MBA or chartered manager MBA, University of Gold Coast gives you options that match your vision. And if your next step is an MSc in international relations, communications, international marketing, international law, security, diplomacy, accounting and finance, or human resource management, an LLM in international law, security, diplomacy, or MA in biblical studies, practical theology, then the pathway is open. So apply now. In fact, if you're working, they'll still give you a schedule that fits your work, as well as your, if you need to have some flexible payment schedule as well, they'll give you that. So reach out to them now, www.ugc.edu.gh, and also call them or WhatsApp them on 026-388-8555. University of Gold Coast. Of course, we're saying building leaders for the nations. We'll be back with more. Thank you, gentlemen. We'll be back with more. Keep watching.